Good morning, everyone. Yeah, welcome to Module 9 of Front-End Web Development. In today's class, we'll be learning about jQuery and AngularJS. Yeah. At the end of this module, you'll be able to basically learn how to use different the functions that are available in jQuery, how to do the animations of the elements in jQuery, how to do get and set of elements, element contents. Like for example, if you have a paragraph, you have the paragraph content between the paragraph P start tag and P end tag. So whatever is in between that start tag and end tag, so that's called content, as you know. How to get that content in jQuery, and also so how to manipulate them on the DOM elements in the DOM tree. And then you know that we style the elements using CSS. In jQuery, you can even basically set the style of an element, and also you can even add a value of an attribute. For example, the popular use case is been say class has got a value, right? Class name. So you can add class name, you can delete class names. Using that adding and deleting class name also, you can change the style, because whatever the new class which you added, if that class has got a style defined, that style will get applied dynamically onto the element. And then we'll have a simple introduction to AngularJS. AngularJS is the client side. Client side means on the browser side, MVC, Model View Controller, based JavaScript framework. So that is it's being quite popular nowadays. The team at Google has invented or implemented this AngularJS. This gives very interactive front-end web pages. Note that AngularJS is quite huge. I'll not be covering all the features of AngularJS. You can have an AngularJS itself by itself close to about 20-hour class. But we'll have a short 1 hour session on this today. Okay. So in this module 9.1, we'll have a brief introduction to jQuery, and we'll also learn the basics and how to modify and select and modify the elements. See, in jQuery you have different flavors. There's the first one is called jQuery core. So core means this is the core jQuery library. Basically all the functions which you require for selecting the element, deleting the element, modifying the element, applying the style, adding the attribute, deleting the attribute, and some basic animations. All these are part of jQuery core. When someone says just jQuery, by default you should assume that is jQuery core. Even though core is not mentioned when they specify, it always, whenever someone says jQuery, it is always means jQuery core. And there are other versions, like for having more UI controls, user interface related controls. There is another JavaScript library called jQuery UI, user interface. So that we'll briefly cover in the later slides. And jQuery, whenever they say jQuery, generally they mean it is for the desktop environment. But as you know, desktop environment has got a lot of computing power and memory. But if someone is viewing that same web page on a handheld device like iPad or even smartphone, so then those small handheld devices does not have the computing power and the memory. So in such a case, when your jQuery implementation has to be very efficient and the bare minimum. For that purpose, they created another very compact library which is customized for mobile devices. It is called jQuery Mobile. So that we'll have a brief discussion about that, introduction about that in later slides as well. Note that there might be some overlap between these three libraries: jQuery Mobile, jQuery Core, and jQuery UI. But once you know jQuery Mobile, jQuery Core, you'll be able to use other libraries as well with with ACE. Okay, let's look at why do you require jQuery. From now on, I'll just say, I will not say jQuery Core, I'll just say jQuery. So jQuery simplifies basically client-side JavaScript scripting for a web page. Note that on the server side we have PHP, but on the front-end side JavaScript. JavaScript the language, though it is very powerful, but if you have to do any operations, you have to write few lines of code for doing one operation. So that will bring down your productivity. Since these for doing, for example, selecting element, content element, so there's some sequence of operations you need to do in JavaScript to get it. So why we need to repeat all of them again and again? So that has been encoded in a function, and then that is provided as a API interface for you. So what you need to do is just give a selector, an argument which is a selector, element selector, and then you say, yeah, get the content. So there is an appropriate name for it, the function name, and you get the content. So that way you're more focused on the functionality rather than the coding in JavaScript. So JavaScript library does it for you. So not JavaScript, jQuery library. Yeah, jQuery, it's a free and open source. You can download it and then use it without any the copyright violations and licensing worries. And it's been used by almost close to 6,000, so or more than even. This is 6,000 was almost 6 months back. Probably it might be close to even 7,000 as well. More than 7,000 popular websites are using jQuery, and it uses some familiar HTML DOM model, document object model, and sorry. So version 1.11, see in jQuery has got in two flavors. One is version 1.11.2. So, and the latest version, another one is 2.1.3. So it's been 2.1.3 has been released on December 18th, almost like just about 2 months ago. So you might be wondering why two versions of jQuery. So 1.11.2 has support for older versions of Internet Explorer browser, that is IE6 version 6, 7 and 8. Whereas 2.1.3 does not have support for IE6, 7 and 8. And IE9 onwards, if you're using or if you're targeting IE9 onwards, you can use version 2.1.3. So depending upon which, whether you need to support IE version 6, 7, 8, then you have to go for 1.11.2. So if you don't have to support these older versions of IE, then you can use directly 2.1.3. Note that 2.1.3 you can use it for all other browsers, all other 4 browsers on the. So note that before when you are using it, write small set of your I would say some small smoke test cases, and implement some small web page and check it all the web browser versions which you would like to support, and then make sure that jQuery is working as expected. And there might be some, most of the times jQuery team will be try to make sure that jQuery is consistent and compatible with all the versions of the browsers, but there might be some exception, but you as a developer have to ensure that. jQuery, generally all the JavaScript libraries, so they'll be available in 2 versions. One is called development version, another is called minified version. Development version is you can see the actual jQuery, JavaScript code in that if it is a development version. So you can just download that development version of the JavaScript file, and you can see what is there in the code. Note that most of these frameworks, they'll be put in only one .js file, because you cannot have multiple files, because there is a possibility of you missing out one. Therefore, so they might run into few thousands of lines It might be a big file, few megabytes sometimes for huge libraries. They did it for a purpose, because what you need to do is you need to download only one file. And since they put a lot of comments, obviously that will bloat the number of lines as well. So if you are basically, when you're doing your development time, use a development version. But once you developed it and you are ready for go for production, then you go and download the minified version from the jQuery website. And let me just show it. So you can go to Google, try just jQuery, and here I'm going to use first result. What you see is that is jQuery website, official website. You click there, and this is the official website of jQuery. Note that here you can see version 1.11.2 or version 2.13. So you click there, and here you get this page. So then here in this you should go and see. You see here, this is a production jQuery, this is a development jQuery, and here you see again for 2.13, this is a production jQuery, this is a development jQuery. So if you just go and click on it, so what you get is you see here, this is a min version, min version. So I'll just discard it because I already downloaded. Whereas if you download this, what you get is so you just say without min 213.js. So this is the actual jQuery. So let me see how big it is. Yeah, it's already downloaded. So this is how you can just, I'm opening it. So so directly it's not able to open because it is a JS extension. I should just drag and drop in a text editor. So you can see here. So this is a plain text file. You can understand it's all JavaScript code. So this is a comment, and note that there's close to 247,000 lines. No, I think those are the number of characters. Sorry, it is 9,000 lines, 9,200 lines. This is the size is 247 kilobytes. So this is all your jQuery, the framework. And if you download the min version, so this is how it looks. So this is a min version. So as I said, this min version, min stands for minimum. So this min version will look like this. Note that it has got only 5 lines. Okay, I can see, I think not even 5, this is 4 lines. This is one long, this is all, see, you cannot understand. This is a JavaScript code, but you will not be able to make sense out of it. This because it's minified. All the variables, long variables which you used in that jQuery file, all of them have been just replaced with A, B, C, D, like the very short names. The reason is rather than having long names, because since you use those variables many times, you can just have short names so that your size of this. So note that the size of this jQuery file is only 84 kilobytes, whereas the other one is 240. Almost you got 60% savings. The reason is when this file, jQuery file, is downloaded from the web server, rather than downloading 240 kilobytes, you just download only 80 kilobytes. That's how your bandwidth is saved, and also it is faster, and a response time of loading of a website will also be very fast. Note that you cannot make sense out of anything of this. Even if you try to, unless you are a hacker, don't try to understand this code. Note that there is always given this min file, and there is something called map file. So there are some tools given this min file, and there's a map file, so they'll be able to replace this ABC variable names with back to the original form. Okay. So any questions regarding which file to use for production? Yeah, let me ask. Min file is used in development or production? Can you answer? Min, like jQuery.min.js. Is it used for development, during development phase or during production phase? No, min file I said, min, M-I-N, min. Min stands for minified version. So only Saif responded. Yeah. Yeah, Karthik, Rohan, yeah, responded correctly. So even James responded correctly. So yeah, min file is used for production purposes. Only non-min file without min. So it's just a naming convention in the file. So that is used for development. Okay, let's get back. Now let's see when there is JavaScript, why do we use jQuery? You might be wondering. So as I said, jQuery is a JavaScript framework, and using the framework like jQuery will greatly improve your productivity. And another reason is so jQuery it clearly separates the HTML, the structure of the code with the JavaScript, which is the behavior. Yeah, Amna asked a question. She didn't understand the difference between production use and development use. Amna, I was saying, see, for development use, you should use, I think, let me just show it to you. So I said that there is a jQuery.js, right? So you can see here, this is jQuery.js. So the first one, 213, is a development use. That is because as you can see, the file size is 242 kilobytes. It is bigger. And whereas the min file, the size, as you can see, it's only 83 kilobytes. So as you can see, it's almost you get the 60% savings in the file size itself. That's the one reason. And another reason is, let's say there is obviously, irrespective of however fast your net connection is, especially if you are on a low speed data plan on your smart device, then definitely downloading a jQuery min file will take 30% of the times, whereas the without min file will take probably 100% of your, let's say 10 seconds. Let's say if the first one takes 10 seconds and second one will just 3 seconds. Okay, for downloading. That is because the file size itself is 30%, 60% savings. And another reason is that since it is a smaller file size, and you can download it much faster. Note that functionality wise, both does exactly the same. So only thing is in the development version, like for example, say I'm just opening the min file. You see here, the min file. So note that it's a JavaScript code. Can you understand anything? All the variable names are A, B, C, E, F, and so on. That's all. There are very few function calls like query select or all. Only those are the standard JavaScript functions. Only those names you see it in full. Where your local variables all in very single letter names, M, N, O, and so on. So this is a min file. So because it replaces the long variable names with short names, that's why you get the savings. You see the file. So this is the file. Actually, this min file and this file both are equivalent. Only difference is this development version is actual JavaScript code. You can look at it. You can understand the code. You can see even the variable names also RDA, R-alpha, and you can understand it. So whenever you are doing the development of using jQuery, then you should use jQuery .js. The reason is, in case if you want to go and look into the code, what is happening, then you can go and look at this file. Whereas you know that you implemented it correctly and it's working file, you tested it and it's ready for production. Then rather than uploading this jQuery 213.js onto the web server, you upload this file and include this into your replace wherever you use jQuery.js, replace with this min file, so that your downloading of the jQuery from the web server will be very fast. Is that clear? Okay. Is that clear, Amna? Any more questions? Okay, great. Let me just close it. Okay. Yeah. The reason is see, jQuery does clearly separates the HTML, the structure of the page with the behavior of the page. Because when jQuery generally you write in a external page, of course you can write in the same page as well, but you are recommended to write in a separate external JavaScript file. Note that when you write jQuery code, jQuery is also JavaScript. Therefore, you have to write, you have to call the jQuery functions inside a .js file, which you include in the your HTML page. So yeah, you can between the script tags you can write the jQuery code there as well, but at least only it will be restricted there. Generally, you don't have to mix jQuery calls or JavaScript function calls inside your HTML start tags. I remember, on mouse, on click is the attribute where you can put the JavaScript code within double quotes. So if you use jQuery, you don't have to even do that, because in jQuery you associate the action with the events as well, so that it will be completely inside the JavaScript code itself. It does not basically intermixed in the start tag of the elements. That's how it does even more clear separation between JavaScript and HTML. And as I said, another, it eliminates cross-browser incompatibilities, because the jQuery team makes sure that it works consistently across all the browsers, and it is simple, short, clean, and easy to read and write. And people don't have to read through about 5 or 10 lines. If they look at the jQuery code, they're very crisp and then very short. And let's see what you can do with jQuery. jQuery, basically you can select the elements. The selectors to selecting the elements are similar to our selectors in CSS. In CSS style sheet, we start the declaration with like P tag or H1 tag. So whatever you give there in the first line of the declaration, that is a selector. They are similar, very similar to CSS selectors. So if you know how to use CSS selectors, you know how to use jQuery selectors as well. So that there is no much learning time for you as well. And you can manipulate the selected. You can basically first you need to select the elements, and then you can manipulate the selected elements. Note that whenever you select it, more than one element gets selected. For example, if you select by P tag, there will be multiple P tags in the element. So multiple elements get selected. And what are the operation you apply using jQuery? The same P tags. If you want to do only one, then you have to write a selector so that only one thing gets selected. So what is the attribute which you use to select uniquely in HTML? If you want to select one HTML element uniquely, I mean only one element you would like to get selected. What is the one which you use to select only one element? Yeah, Amna answered correctly. Others you can give a shot. Karthik answered correctly. Saifali answered correctly. Yeah, great. Yeah, James, it's ID. You need to use the ID attribute. ID is an attribute like class attribute. So you need to use the ID attribute. Once you give ID equal to some value, unique value. So you know that ID value exists uniquely in the whole of HTML. So you can use the ID selector using that ID select the value. So and then that's how you can uniquely select it. You know for sure that you select only one element. That is way 2. So if you want to use apply a style or take an action in jQuery only on one element, then you need to use ID attribute. Okay, and then once you selected, you can modify the style of selected elements, and you can jQuery supports even elements, effects, animations. Basically, on selected elements, you can associate some events. Obviously, whenever you said event, it has got the event listener as well. As soon as that event is triggered, that event listener, that event listener function will get called, and then it will take some action, whatever you implemented. Another thing is it supports JSON parsing as well. And also it supports Ajax. And if you remember from our previous session, Ajax, whenever you write Ajax calls, you need to write about close to 7 to 8 lines. Whereas in jQuery, so it can be just one simple line. So, but if you have more, flexibility, like whenever you make jQuery call, Ajax call in jQuery, let's say some error happens, you would like to call some error function. If you would like to have more flexibility in Ajax call in jQuery, then the call might look basically complicated, a very long statement. But once you know what is required and then how to use it, it's much simpler compared to writing your own jQuery, Ajax code in using JavaScript. As I was saying, there are other variants of jQuery as well, which is jQuery UI. Basically, it is mainly used for, as I said, creating the user interfaces. It has got a very specific, specialized functions for UI interactions, effects, widgets, and themes. There are few other than jQuery core as well, so this jQuery UI provides even much more user interface related functions. Note that within your HTML page, you can use jQuery UI and jQuery as well, both. Normally, you generally end up using both because jQuery core you need for selecting the elements, and UI for basically for getting the UI effects. Basically, if you are developing any interactive web application, then you might need jQuery UI. Otherwise, jQuery core is enough. And jQuery UI, if you are using HTML5 and CSS3, then jQuery or jQuery UI, you may not need much. Because let's say if you are using HTML4 or CSS 2.1, then all these animations, effects weren't there in older HTML4 and CSS 2.1. Then you have no option but to use these jQuery libraries, both UI and jQuery core. But if you are using HTML5 and CSS3, then you may not needing jQuery that much. Very rare cases you need jQuery if you are implementing your page in HTML5 and CSS3. So do you know why? So can you answer? Why, if you are using HTML5 or CSS3, you are not dependent on jQuery that much? Can you just take a shot? You can type in the chat window. Language is compact. No. See, it might be compact, but what is that? Really, see, in HTML5, CSS3, you don't have to use jQuery unless, yes, you want to be very productive. Yes, if you want to be very productive and quickly you want to implement something rather than writing the code, yes, then you might use jQuery. But more than that, Amna answered correctly. So HTML5 and CSS3, basically more than HTML5, I would say CSS3. Most of the things which are there in jQuery core are already implemented in CSS3 natively. So if you are using CSS3, then you don't need jQuery that much, except for, as Karthik said, for keeping your code very compact and clean, short. then you might use jQuery only for that purpose. But I mean, it is less useful. You can write your own functions for basically if you want to just only select elements and modify something, then you can write your own jQuery code 1 and then put that as your own function, JavaScript function, and call that the same JavaScript function. So that is more efficient. If you're not using too many functions from jQuery, then don't use it. Just implement your own handwritten code and then use it. That way it is more efficient. Even in the minified version, note that it occupies 84 kilobytes. So if you write your own function, so you can just finish it up within probably not more than 10 lines or let's say 50 lines. 50 lines will be not more than a kilobyte. So that way, when a kilobyte will be definitely much smaller compared to 84 kilobytes, right? So that way your website will be much faster. So if as far as possible, if you can write your own handwritten code, so that is the best. Okay. So the main reason why you are less dependent on jQuery in HTML5 and CSS3, because when you use CSS3, the most of the functions which are jQuery has implemented in the core library are already available readily in CSS3. That's the reason. Okay. And as I said, jQuery mobile, it's mainly for creating mobile applications on mobile devices and for smartphones and tablets. And one of the important feature why you should use jQuery mobile is that it is portable across mobile devices, irrespective of the operating system which is running on the mobile device. It has got consistent behavior across all the mobile devices. And the jQuery team makes sure that it is compatible, like as and when newer versions of the OS operating systems or even newer devices come into the marketplace, even the jQuery will keep behaving exactly more or less the same way or even better in the newer devices and newer operating systems. And jQuery mobile has got even Ajax calls as well, so that if your mobile device has to interact with the backend device, it can make Ajax call. And as I said, jQuery library as such is, if you want to do minimal scripting, use this mobile. Yeah, let's look at some hands-on. Before we get to hands-on, we'll just have a little more concepts here. As I said, you can get the jQuery from the jQuery.com website. And you might be wondering, how do I use jQuery in HTML file? Note that this jQuery like version name 213.js, this file you have to host it on your web server. Let's say if you have wherever you keep your website on the same web server or different, probably in associate web server. If you are offloading this serving of jQuery file onto another web server on your intranet, then basically it should be hosted, or you can keep on that another server as well. But basically it should be there within the accessible to the same website on the intranet. If you are hosting it and controlling the website. So the way to include this jQuery file is that, as I said, jQuery213.js. This is the name of the jQuery library. This is a development version. So then you should give, basically the way we include external JavaScript file, the same way you include the jQuery file as well. So in a script tag, you give source is equal to, if I give a file like this, then it is hosted on the same web server on which my website is hosted. This is the simplest use case. Let's say, note that this jQuery file, even if you use min, it takes about 84 kilobytes. Note that those 84 kilobytes have to be sent to the client by your web server. That means if your web server has the responsibility of sending it. Let's say if you are, note that it consumes your computing power in your web server, and also it consumes the bandwidth, probably 84 kilobytes per user. Okay, so So rather than you spending wasting your bandwidth and as well as your computing resources, so you can basically use the CDNs. Do you know what is CDN? CDN. Can you type in the chat window? What does CDN stands for? You can use the CDNs which are available on the net. Okay. So anyone knows what is CDN? Okay, let me just put it. Since people don't know, I'll just like to put it. Yeah, James answered correctly. It is content delivery network. Let me just put it here. CDN stands for content delivery network. Okay. Let me make it a little bigger size. Okay. So is it clear? CDN stands for content delivery network. So as the name suggests, basically you have a network of servers throughout the internet. Their job is to serve the content. So when I said content, mostly it is static content, content which does not change over a period of time. It might be changed, let's say, after a week, after a month. But generally within a very short duration of, let's say, 1 week or 1 day, or even say 1 month, within that duration, it does not change much. The reason why you need to use CDNs, especially Google-like sites, Google-like companies who use CDNs heavily. So there's one company name called Akamai. Let me just type in to all of you. Yeah, there's something called Akamai. So this is the name of a company. So this Akamai is one of the popular content delivery network. So what this Akamai will do is they'll have they will host they will have the servers in throughout the internet in different countries. Within the country, like India, it might be having probably 4 different servers, one in Delhi, Calcutta, Mumbai, Chennai, probably Hyderabad and Bangalore. Probably they'll have 6 CDN servers. So what these CDN servers will do is, so they will, like for example, take an example of Google. So Google will tell that, okay, these are like say about set of 100 files which basically are used by my customers. So if anyone wants to use it, if anyone wants to whenever anyone visits the google.com sites, so rather than going to Google, basically Akamai servers will deliver it to you. Since let's say if I'm based in Bangalore, and if Akamai server is based in Bangalore again, so it takes much time getting a file from Akamai server in Bangalore compared to the Google server based in California in US, right? Because so though internet is very fast, my net connection is also fast, but still it'll definitely differ. Probably I can get from local server within 20 milliseconds, whereas from US it might take 200 milliseconds. So though it is order of milliseconds, but still, so you have 10 times more improvement with respect to the response times. So that way the content delivery networks will deliver the content very close to the end users. That way it's delivered very fast. Is it clear? What is the purpose of content delivery network? Let me just, yeah. Amna has asked a question, is CDN the server which handles compression of data in inverted index format? Yeah, Amna asked a question, is the CDN the server which handles the compression of data in inverted index format? Let me understand your question. So, see, generally any web server will do the compression of the data. Because as long as client and the server, they mutually agree that okay, they can exchange the data in compressed format, gzip format. So yeah, so it's a negotiation that happens between client and server. Actually, yeah, it will do that as well, but it will do much more than that. So what it does is, as I said, it does caching of the content closest to the end users. So if you are familiar with telecommunication, there is something called last mile problem. So most of the problems in telecommunication network happens on the last mile. Means from exchange, the subscriber exchange, the telephone exchange to the end user. That's where when the copper wire is laid. So that is called last mile. So in that last mile, so basically most of the problems occur, and so this CDN basically solves that last mile problem in the case of internet. Since as I said, a server is based in Bangalore, and all the users of Google will contact the server in Bangalore to get the static content. Note that these CDNs serve only the static content, which does not change over a period of time. Note that for the actually your search results, so these CDNs will not provide. First, for the search results, you have to anyway go all the way to Google server and get the content from there. Only the static content is served by the CDNs. So one of the as you can see, the CDNs, the main purpose is serving of the static content, and it will have very high speed cache servers, and it will basically serve using those cache, since it is there in the cache. Note that see, in case of Google, so it might be probably all the static content will be stored in a hard disk, right? It has to read from hard disk and then send it on the network. Whereas in case of CDNs, all the static content, it will not be stored. Most of the content, frequently served content, will not be stored in hard disk, though it might be very close to me in Bangalore, but all of that will be stored in a probably some sort of SSD, solid state disk, or it might be stored in a main memory itself, so that since it's readily available in main memory, it can serve very fast. Okay, so basically it will provide two services. One is being close to customers, customers I mean end users, and since it basically stores the content, static content, in a main memory rather than a disk, and so that it can serve very fast. So these are two main: caching and being close to the end user. These are the two services which are provided by CDNs. Is that clear? Okay. Yeah. So since you would like to save some time and computing time, and also the network bandwidth. So what I would suggest is you can use this. There are some companies like Google, Microsoft, Mac CDN, and sometimes even some companies as a philanthropy. So what they do is for a general good of the web community, web users. So such a framework they store on the CDNs. What it means is Google will provide a link which you can embed inside your web page like this. So the full path of this jQuery file is this. It's given in the source here, which is in green color. So on their Google servers, see here the server name is googleapi.com. On their servers, in some directory like Ajax, Ellipse, jQuery, they'll host that file. So since it is there in the CDN, so rather than you serving from your web server like this, if you use a CDN, so it will be served very fast. So you get the advantage of making your website very fast, and also you don't have to pay for from your pocket for the bandwidth consumed on your site. Note that on the client side, bandwidth gets consumed anyway. Client side means end user side. End user anyway has got a lot of bandwidth from his data pack. So anyway, you cannot avoid that. So he will be paying for that. But from your side, you don't have to. Your internet bandwidth bills will be reduced significantly. And similarly, Google also. Sorry, not Google. Microsoft also has got a website where they host the same jQuery. Note that if you are using 1.11.2 for IE versions, then you can use Microsoft CDN. Microsoft CDN will even serve, basically they will host even 2.1.3 as well. And there is a Mac CDN. It's a company which is also has got another URL. Okay. Okay, let's move on. So enough of theory, and I think just after this slide we'll just go to the hands-on sessions. Note that as I said, jQuery code it's written inside a JavaScript file. jQuery code is so you put it in a JavaScript file itself. So jQuery can be called using any basically whenever you what do you call a document's loaded. So there is always when the HTML document has been loaded into the browser, so then your document is ready for rendering or getting. Then the user will view your web page. So that, how do you know that okay, your document has been loaded completely? So that is captured by an event called $ready. Note that here dollar stands for basically you are calling a jQuery function. So there have been 4 different ways you can call this ready function. One is this: you can give jQuery full, and then document. This is the same document. If you remember our document object model, this document is the same dot document. You remember document.write we used to use for writing to the HTML document, that same document variable. And then this dot ready is a function, and within as a ready argument to the ready function, you pass a function object. So this function will get called whenever this document is ready. And so this is one way. This is the longest way. Shortest way is you can replace jQuery with just $, and rest of it is same. You can see here in the second line. And note that even you don't have to pass a document. If you don't pass anything, the jQuery will assume it is you are basically manipulating the document object. So that is a third shortest notation. So $, first one, and the document you can completely omit, and then say just dot ready, and the function is again the same. Note that even if you don't have to call ready explicitly, you just say $, and give a just a function call within the function object. So if you just say $, and then within this brackets you give the function, that means this function should get called when the document is loaded. So all these 4 lines does exactly the same thing. Okay, and yeah. So one thing is, you might be wondering, so whenever you do any functions, any manipulation using jQuery, you should wait until your HTML document is fully loaded into the web page. You might be wondering, why should I wait? The reason is, only when all the elements gets loaded, the DOM gets created, only then you should do certain operations using jQuery. The reason is, let's say if some element is not loaded, and you just try to do some operation on that element which is not loaded yet, then you might get some JavaScript errors. So to avoid those errors, you should always do any operations only after the document is fully loaded. Note that if you the same thing. So some things won't work properly if you try to modify some elements. Yeah, if you try to do before the elements got loaded. Okay, let's look at the code. Any questions until now regarding jQuery? I know that it's a little long theory, but it's very essential that okay. So how to include, when to use CDNs, what is the purpose, whether to use jQuery or not, all those things you need to understand. So just that we covered in this class. Let's say, as I said, if you are using CSS3, you don't have to go for jQuery at all. Only in the very rare cases you may have to use it. Okay, you should not think that jQuery should be used all the time. Any questions here? Oh, so I think as a custom, we can take a just 5 minutes break. We'll be, see, it's 9:04 now. We'll be back by, let's say, 9:10. Is it okay? 6 minutes break. Okay, then we'll be back in by 9:10. Okay, I think Even Karthik is also back. So let's start. It's 9:10. Yeah, let's look at the. So see, why you should wait, and why if you don't wait for the document to be ready, what happens? You can just read it here at the bottom of this slide. Okay, let's go back to the code. This is my demo page. Let me just see what function I can demonstrate first. Yeah, this is Ajax call, which I don't want. Let me just comment that out. Okay. And yeah. Yeah, let's put this code here itself. So I'm writing the code. So here, note that though I am writing here inside the script file. So earlier, when I'm demonstrating anything related to the JavaScript, I demonstrated by writing in an external JavaScript file, and then we had a reference using a script tag there. So since then I used the external script file. So for this demonstration, I don't want to do back and forth. So I'm just putting it in a script tag within the same HTML file. So I'm just using this for demo purpose, but this is not the recommended way. Whatever I'm typing here between this script start tag and tag, you should ideally put it in an external JavaScript file and then reference to that here. So that is a recommended way. But for just demo purpose, I'm just putting it here. Okay, I hope it's clear. So I was telling, let me just copy that code here. Let's say this is the function, right? I said, let me just copy the same code. So I'm just copying the code. So as I said, when this function, yeah. So here, so inside this function, what I'll do is I'll put some alert message. Alert. So welcome to. So I think since it is a function, I'd like to put it in a separate line like this. So this is a function. Welcome to EduReka's front end web development. Okay, and so since I put as I said, so this is a jQuery, and you're passing a document object. Basically you're passing the whole DOM tree. So that is there in the DOM, also document. So when this document is loaded, means when completely the web page is loaded, then you need basically this function to be called. This you are passing as a function object to this ready function. So inside that you can put any valid JavaScript code. Here in this case for demo purpose, I'm putting an alert. Let me just now open that. So I'm copying the full path in a browser. I'm opening it. Note that nothing happened. Okay, so just ignore the rest of the content because I need it a little later. So nothing happened. The reason is, see, note that on the beginning, so I have the head, I have the body, and within say this head is over here. And yeah, this body is end here, HTML, and the script. So see now, let us see what is happening. You can go to your more tools and developer tools. Let's see why. I put an alert tag, but it didn't come. Why? So now you can see the error. Reference error, jQuery is not defined. You can see this is error line number 46. So in line number 46 is here. So basically now the browser is saying, it doesn't know what is jQuery. Means here the reason is I haven't put the reference to the jQuery library. So the way I put it is, so let me use one CDN. So as I said, you can download this file from the jQuery.com site and then you can host it. But I would like to demonstrate the CDN. Let me just copy the same thing. So the first thing is to check whether it exists or not. Just open the browser window, and now I'm sending a request. Okay, you should open some content. You see, it opens some content. So this is a JavaScript. Means now my full URL path is correct. Okay, the same URL path you can just copy it. So I copied it here. Okay, so note that how do I specify? So let me go back to here. So this is how I need to specify. So I just copy paste the same code. Okay, so note that this is the same URL. So before you giving this URL as a source value, verify that that the URL is valid by opening the browser. So now I am referencing. Note that before calling any jQuery functions, you should put this script tag, which basically references jQuery. So as soon as you put the script tag, so what web browser does is it goes to this URL and downloads this jQuery.min file and then keeps it in its local cache. And then onwards, if you use any jQuery functions, then it will be able to resolve that jQuery names and what are the API calls. So note that I just added this line 44 and 45. So you can just put it like this in one single line rather than two lines. And let me just open it. Refresh it. You see, now the alert has come because now it's able to resolve. If you go to even JavaScript console, there's no error here. Here, so in this console there is error. Now there is no error. Let me just go back and then demonstrate one by one. I said jQuery. So you can replace here. You can see you can replace jQuery with the $, right? So now just replace with just $, and I'll just say put $, here, so that you know that it's a different. It's a new function. I'm refreshing it. You see here now $. So what did I enter something different? Yeah. So it is just $. So $3. Okay. So let's demonstrate. I said document this one is not required. So I'll delete that as well. I'll say put here document. So no document. Argument. Let me just refresh it. See, no document arg. So it's working fine. Now I said you don't need even ready function. You can just completely delete it. Just this is enough. And it's a crispy jQuery. And let's refresh it now. Now you see. So as I showed, so you can call any of these ways, but I would suggest the second one because this is short and clean. A second or third is also fine. So first is see, if you want to be very clear, you can put the jQuery as well. So if you are a purist, then you can use the first one as well. But even last one is also fine. I think so. It's all your taste, what you would like to use. But this is it's very cryptic. So you don't know when some, especially for first-time users of jQuery, they'll be very confused to see what is happening here. It's very crisp. Only hackers use the last one. If you're a hacker, use the last option. Okay. But as I said, any of the second is I recommend. Third is the next most recommended. Next is jQuery. Okay. Any questions on how to include jQuery library and how to use the ready function? Okay. Saiful has no questions. Karthik, Rohan, and due to have no questions. Okay, great. Okay, just it's as simple as that. Note that only one thing you should remember is this you put it before you call any of the jQuery functions. So note that here generally you can identify jQuery function with the word jQuery or $. Okay. So before making any call, just make sure that you include this jQuery library. And the second thing is, so yeah, if you are doing anything, you do only after ready function. Sorry, you whatever you would like to do, you enclose that in a function, and you pass that function as a argument to the ready function, as I showed here. So that way, you know that after document is readily loaded, and it completed loading, only then you start doing some action. So these are the two things which you should keep in mind when you use the jQuery. Okay, and for your purpose, just for demo purpose, let me see if I can demonstrate. So note that jQuery, where do I have? Yeah. So if you want to serve it locally, you can do that this way as well. Okay. I just go to my So here note that I'm taking this 213. I'm just copying into my folder. So let's say if you let's say this is the directory where you hosted your website. You go to your JS directory where you generally keep all your JavaScript code, and make a note of this file. Okay, and then so this source file you can replace with. Note that here I'm not using the min file because this is not my production version. I'm using the development version. You can just replace like this if you don't want to use the CDNs or min version. So note that this is the I'll just replace with development. Okay, and then refresh it. So you said, say dollar is not defined. Okay, why? Oh yeah, that's because, so note that what is the error? Can you identify what is the error? Yeah, Karthik, Amna and Saifali, all of them replied correctly. Yeah, path is wrong. The path where I hosted my jQuery file, so that is wrong. 1 minute. Before I come to this, Amna has a question. So it's a general question. How do we publish the web pages? See, publish means you have to put all the files, the required files, your HTML files, your image files, your JavaScript files, your CSS files, all of them, you put it in one directory on a web server. Okay. You put it in, so make sure that all paths are correctly, all paths are correct. And then next thing is you should basically have obviously you should have web server process running on the machine. So which is on port 80 or whatever the port 8080, just port 80 or 8080 or any other port which your end users knows. By default it is port 80 for HTTP. And that's the second thing. Make sure that your web server configuration is all fine. Configuration basically means your access permissions, and also basically the root directory of the website. So there is a configuration file where you need to specify the root directory of your website. Those are the basic configuration you require. And the second thing is, another thing is you should host it on a web server which has got IP address which will map to your domain name. Let's say my domain name is, let's say, edureka.com. So edureka.com should map to some IP address. That name to IP address mapping is done by using what is called domain naming system. So you need to ask your internet service provider. If you are the owner of the domain, you should ask them to basically add what is called a record. A stands for address record. So address record, they will map. Let me just show. I think this. Yeah, Amna said at the end of the class, can you publish a web page for demonstration? Yeah, we can do that. Only thing is, see, I will not be able to publish on a external website. The reason is for that I think I had a special session with Karthik on this. So I think he got good understanding about this. If you are not familiar, probably I can repeat that. What all it requires to publish. So what I can publish is I can publish on my web. Since I have web server running on my machine, local machine, I can publish it there exactly the same way you publish on internet. Only thing is, see what it requires is you require what is called your domain name. Okay, your domain name could be like www.edureka.com. So this is a domain name. The next what you need to have is public IP address. So public IP address is what you said you see, like for example, if you do a ping on www.google.com, so this is a publicly visible IP address to everyone on the internet. So this is the public IP address for Google. So let me take just Google example itself. So here IP address is your public IP address is 173.194.72.147. Okay, so this is a public IP address. Note that these public IP addresses you need to buy from. There's something called ICANN, Internet. Let me I think CANN. I mean I forgot. So I can. So basically, there's one international registry. Let me just go and. Probably can we take this as in a special session, Amna? That way, we'll not be slipping on this content. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. As I said, I can demonstrate. Only thing is, I have domain name, but I don't have public IP address. I need these two things. Then I can request my service provider to basically to have a area card mapped in the DNS, and then on that public IP address, basically I need to run the server. Then that's it. Then the way I host it locally on my server, and that's the only difference between hosting locally on my machine and hosting publicly. Just you need domain name, IP address, and a record on the inter-service provider. That's all. Now rest of obviously the same public IP address should be configured on the my server, my local server. That's it. Then you publish on the net. That's all. Publishing means making it available to the external users. That's all. Since whenever someone sends a request, HTTP request, now along the net, along the internet, it comes to my server, and my server, what are the files required, it will send it over the internet. So that is what is just publishing. Is that clear? Just like I would like to answer what is meant by publishing a web page. Is that clear, Amna? Okay. Only thing is, as I said, I will not be able to demonstrate publicly, so that you can access it because I don't have a public IP address. Public IP address, getting it from the internet service provider, at least in India, it costs. I think it costs close to 2,500 per annum, just for getting the that public IP address. Since I don't have any website to publish as of today, that's why I haven't bought it. Otherwise, generally all these companies either they will have, like for example, big companies like IBM and Cisco, so they already own all the IP addresses. For example, IBM owns the 9 dot star dot star dot star. The whole 9 segment is owned by IBM, because when the internet started, IBM paid huge money to this internet registry, and then they got all this 9 dot segment completely. And Cisco has got 10 dot star dot star dot star. Means all these. So star dot could be anything between 0 to 255. So all this 10 dot segment all completely taken by Cisco. Note that if you have a NAT or internal firewall, then some people use 10.0 within their local network. It's just like convention, it's just convenient. But actually officially 10. Segment is all owned by Cisco. All public IP addresses. What I meant here, 9. Segment and 10. Segment is the public IP addresses. All other, I mean, later, these are mainly big companies which existed at the almost 40-50 years back. At that time, they saw they paid huge money and then got the whole segment itself. So all other, I mean, like Google like companies, they are all getting like 173 dot segments, 173 dot segment. So because at that time Google didn't exist, they didn't have the one complete segment itself by themselves. So they had to take it from some already existing service providers. Okay, let's go back to our slides. So yeah, just one thing. Amna asked a question, I mean, like what it means by publishing a web page. I mean, so does everyone understand, I mean, what it means by publishing a web page on the public internet? I know, I mean, I spent a time with Karthik, so he understands. So other than Karthik, anyone else needs special class? If you want, I mean, I can just have a special class for all of you so that you can interact with me. That's one way. And I already recorded that session which I had with Karthik. So you can view that session. So either of it. So if you just go through the video session, I think Karthik has asked all the questions which are there for any first time user. So that's, you can just look at it at your convenience, or on a specific date and time. If you want it, I can have special class, not a problem. So what do you want? Amna, what do you want? You want me to have special class, or you want to go through the video? Currently the video is on my machine. I mean, so because at that time we tried to do it on GoToWebinar, but we needed some control. I need to control his machine, but I could not do that. That's the reason why we exited from the webinar, and then we separately had on I think on Skype and then team viewer. So unless Karthik has any concerns, I sharing that video with rest of you. So if he has any concerns, then I will not share. So that is there on my machine. So is it okay, Karthik? Yeah, Amna says she can look at the he can look at the video. So if Karthik has no issues, then I can share. Karthik, you have no issues? Confirmed? Because I mean, it shows some of your some contents on your laptop. Okay, great. Yeah, Karthik said he agreed to share, so I can just share that video. I'll send that the whole the video to Edureka support team, so they will host it on the Edureka site. So you can just view it, view it there. I think I had a good close to 2.5 hours of hands-on session with him. Initially, he had a problem in installing the basically WAMP stack. I even resolved those WAMP stack issues for him as well. So that way, even if you face any WAMP stack issues or LAMP stack issues, then I think you will have some idea. Okay, so I'll share that video with Edureka support, and Edureka support will be hosting it on the Edureka site. Is that okay, Amna? I think that will answer most of your question. Only thing is, there also, unfortunately, as I said, I don't have public IP address. So as I said, public IP address does cost. So only thing is, see, like 1 minute. So let me show you where to configure the public IP address. So say in the right hand side, you will see if it is a Windows machine. Okay, you click here, and then you will get the say net connection wherever you are connected to. So there you just right click, and there's something called properties. Go to properties, and say there's something called connection. So not this. Okay. So go to status, not properties. Okay, go to status. There you will see properties in this tab. You click on the properties. Okay. So when you click on the properties, you will see this network connection properties. So in that you will see IPv4. Currently, all of us still we use even IPv4. Still, world is slowly moving to IP version 6. The difference is in IPv4 there are only, so as you said, like 10.10.10.10, like say only about 32 bits. On 2 port 32 IP addresses are available for the whole of the world. But since they started running out the IP addresses, now they moved on to IP version 6, which has got close to, instead of 32 bits, we have 128 bits for the IP addresses. So most of the hardware does support IPv6. Yeah, Karthik has again came back to me saying that he has a concern hosting that recording on a web Edureka page. So if that is the case, then we have no option but to have a special session. Okay, let us have a special session on this. Okay, Karthik, I'll not send it to Edureka for hosting it. Fine, thank you. Okay, yeah. So I said in IPv6, though most of our laptops, your laptop, my laptop, they are IPv6 ready, but unfortunately, internet has not yet migrated to IPv6 yet. I think it will take another 5 to 10 years or even 20 years to completely migrate from IPv4 to IPv6. So yeah, you select IPv4 and then click on, so now say rather than IPv6, you click on IPv4 and click on properties here. So here I'm dynamically getting the IP address from my wireless router. But in case of you, if you want to host it with a public IP address, what you need to give is, you need to click this use following IP address. So here you can give like say 173.177.144 like 123, whatever the public IP address you use. And here you should use the public IP subnet mask. So probably if you ask your net service provider, they'll tell you what subnet mask you should use. And the default gateway also you should ask them. So generally, it will be like 122. So they'll give it. By default, if it is my router, I can give like this. And another thing is your service provider will have a what is called DNS server as well. Your service provider's DNS server. So you have to give that IP address. He will have some IP address, so you should enter that. Okay, and there are Google-like companies who are hosting the what is called public DNS. So you can just go and search for public DNS server. Okay, search for public DNS server. Okay, you can see here open DNS IP addresses. So click one of them. So note that you don't have to depend on any service providers. See, it's always good to point to your service provider's DNS because that is closest to you and it will respond very fast because it's close to you and then it is near to you and it will be slightly loaded. You can use any of these IP addresses here. So there's this IP address or this IP address. These are open DNS IP addresses. If you want Google's one, Google has these addresses 8.8.8 or 8.8.4.4. So you can use these IP addresses here. Like for example 8.8.8.8. So you can point to any of these Google public DNS IP addresses which are 2 and that's it. You're good to go. That's all. Okay. So it will just, since my network is not configured for this, that's why it's giving error. But if you configure it properly, you will not have these problems. Okay. So just configure like this if it is your Windows server, that's it, done. As I said, get the DNS public IP address from your service provider and configure like this. That's it. You are done, good to go. And probably you may have to restart your web server once, then you publish it. Okay, can you hear me? Because I was fiddling with my IP addresses. I want to make sure that I'm still connected. Because when let's say when you are connected to the internet, you are not supposed to change any of these net connection, network properties changes. If you can do that, then your network connection will be lost. So it looks like by accidentally I didn't, my net connection didn't get disconnected. Can you hear me? I want to make sure that I'm still connected. Yeah, okay, great. So I didn't mess up the stuff. Okay, great. Okay, so these are the public IP addresses. Okay, so either you can use OpenDNS or Google's public DNS. So these are reliable OpenDNS and Google DNS. There you can trust them because they are reputed names. You can trust them. But other DNS, and next one you can trust is obviously your net service provider. If you're not comfortable using your net service provider, you can use this OpenDNS or public DNS. Yeah, let's come back to our jQuery. Any questions until now? Okay, great. So hope now you understood how to link to jQuery and then how to call a function on ready. So these are the 4 ways you can call a ready function. Okay, let's make it bigger. Yeah. Let us see. Let us write some JavaScript code, and then see even how easy to write do the same thing in jQuery. Yeah, like for example, so here I given a small piece of code in blue. So this piece of code. So these 3 lines, those are 3 statements, and those 3 lines consist of 108 characters. Okay, so here what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get all the elements, all the P elements, paragraph elements, and then I want to display a property which is a style property, style, and then in style I have display property. I want to set it to none. When I set it to none, basically you are hiding all those paragraphs. So note that if you do the same in JavaScript, so it is 3 statements and 108 characters. So let's say I would like to do this. Basically, it's hiding of elements, paragraphs. So if I do in the same thing in jQuery, so that's it. So note that it's just only 1 statement and only 15 characters. You see where is 108 characters and where is 15 characters. So you are the huge savings in terms of even file size as well. So instead of 3 statements, you have only 1 statement. Instead of 108 characters, you have only 15 characters. Let's look at that code. So let me just copy the code. And yeah. So initially, I don't want to use this JavaScript. Okay. So this I'll comment this out, so that you know that I'm not using just. So what I do is here, see, note that here PS. So if you want, you can put where. That's a good convention. So on the document object, you are calling the get element by tag name. So tag name here, the tag which you're interested in is the paragraph tag. So once you get it, basically the PS will return. PS now will contain the multiple, all the paragraph elements in an array. So the length of the array, you can get it by the variable PS dot length. Now you iterate from 0 to all the elements. What you do is you basically each paragraph you are getting by indexing with I, the index. Note that it starts from 0 to the n elements. So index is n minus 1. So on that, note that since it's a DOM element, on the DOM element there is something property called style property. So style attribute. and then on that again dot display. Note that these are the attributes of this DOM object. DOM object which is for that paragraph element, and that attribute you set it to none. So let's see, let me have some paragraphs. Okay, here I have one paragraph. Okay, let me see what are the paragraphs. Here I have, this is a message, this is one paragraph. Okay, and I have another paragraph, this is para 1, and the second paragraph para 2, and then so my class and my ID. So these are the different. So note that my ID is not a paragraph, it is just a span element. Okay, so only my class is a paragraph element. And so when you hide it, so all these paragraph elements will get hidden. Note that span, this my ID which is there in span, so that will not get hidden. Let me refresh it. Okay, I'm refreshing it. You see here, all those paragraphs are gone. So just to demonstrate, I mean, what I'll do is, I'll just create a button. I'll create a function hide, or say my para hide, because if I use hide, I mean, it might clash with the other functions because it's frequently used name. So now just I'll put in a function para hide. So here I would like to have a button. Okay, button. So I'll not have any name. I'll set hide paragraphs button. Okay. Note that on click, I would like to call this function para hide. That's it. Okay. So now here, hide paragraphs, I created a button, and now on click, I'm calling that para hide. Para hide basically is, this is para hide. So what it does is, it does these 3 lines. Let me just open it. Now you see all those paragraphs. You see, this is the whole paragraph. So now I had a hide paragraphs. Note that this message is a paragraph, and this para 1, para 2 is a paragraph, and this is also paragraph. All these 4 will get hidden. I'm clicking on the hide paragraphs. You see, they're all hidden. Okay. And note that you can, again, for unhiding it, again, you should click on it. You should remember that change. Clicking on the same button, again, should remove that none property. Okay. So which we'll do it later. So is that clear? Any questions here? Yeah, so I think now I demonstrate using this para hide function. Now what I'll replace is, I'll just comment this out. I'll just comment all this out. Okay. Fine. Now what I'll do is, so same para hide. And same para hide, I'll just copy that one line. Note that since I'm using jQuery, I need to uncomment this. And let us see that. Note that now it is only just one line. So let me just put some alert so that you know that I'm actually calling this. Alert. Now you are calling jQuery hide. Okay, now you know that, okay, I'm inside this function. So I'm clicking this hide paragraphs. See, you can see you are inside jQuery hide. When I click OK, then all those paragraphs will be hidden. So something wrong. What is wrong? So if you, then you should go and check this, your tools, developer tools. Yeah, you said dollar is not defined. The same thing, because I haven't given the correct path. You should give. So I put it in JS directory. So now you put it. So now I corrected the correct path, and now I refresh it. So now I'm clicking on hide paragraphs. So now I'm inside the hide. So now it gets hidden. Now you see in the JavaScript console, there are no errors. I'll demonstrate once more. See, hide paragraphs, just pop up. That's it. Okay. So yeah, Saifali asked a question. If I want to hide one paragraph, how do we do the coding in jQuery? Yeah, you mean you would like to hide only one paragraph, not all the paragraphs, right, Saifali? Did I understood you correctly? Okay, got it. Yeah, I said in the beginning. So when you would like to hide only one paragraph, then you need to use the ID attribute. Let me see if I have any ID attribute. So note that on paragraph, this is a message. I have ID attribute, right? So now I'd like to only hide only this is the message, this paragraph. Then what you should do is, so in this, instead of paragraph, you should give, so what is the character you should use before the ID value to make it as an ID selector? So there's one character you should use. Exactly. Amna answered correctly. Saifali, can you reply? What is the character I should use before the ID value to make it an ID selector? Karthik, you are wrong. Saifali, you are right. Yes, it is hash. So it's not even P. P is not required. So see, since this is the message, okay, so you can give any name. Like for example, so this is, I would say, my message. Okay. So that my message, you should put it here. And then to make it a ID selector, I said you should put hash. So now you are calling, you are hiding only one para with ID my message. Okay. So just I'm putting this alert. It's not required. I'm just putting it so that you know that we are inside this function. Clicking on that. So now you see that message and see that only that paragraph message is hidden. So I'll just remove this alert so you can see it clearly. So I'm refreshing it. Note that I'm clicking on hide paragraphs. Only this message, this gets hidden. Clear? So that's how so let's say that's how you hide only one paragraph. Let us say if you want to hide multiple paragraphs, then you should use a class attribute. So and define that class in all those paragraphs which you would like to hide them. Okay, there's another way. Is that clear? Saifali? Okay, good. So as I said, depending upon whether you would like to hide only one paragraph or multiple paragraphs. So even with multiple paragraphs, depending on situation, you would like to say one set of paragraphs you would like to hide. In depending on another situation, you would like to have another set of paragraphs. Then you should have two classes. So like situation 1 classes and situation 2 classes, and have those two classes defined like this. Situation 1 and then situation 2. So note that probably this paragraph you have to define like this. So note that now I have this class attributes defined like this. So this is situation 2 paragraph, this is situation 1 paragraph, where this is both in situation 1 and situation 2. Now you can use this class attribute. So what is this situation 1? Okay. And what is the character which I should use for a class ID selector? Correct. Amna answered correctly. Saifali answered correctly. Karthik answered correctly. Yes, it's a dot. So use dot. That's it. Done. You are ready to go. So let me refresh it and hide it. You see, only switch. Which are the situational paragraphs? Which is my class and also para 2. So my class and para 2 are situation 1, and they get hidden. You see, they get hidden. Let's say if you want para situation 2, then change it to situation 2, and situation 2 paragraphs are only para 1 and my class. Para 1 and my class. So they get hidden like that. So similarly, even like selector, like CSS selector, here also you can use comma. So means now, this hiding will happen both on situation 1 classes and as well as situation 2 classes. You can use comma separator as well. This is a group selector, right? So if you recall your CSS selectors, this is how we used to apply a style on multiple classes. Is that clear? Okay, Rowan said it's clear to him. Others? Any questions here? I think so. These are the basic fundamentals. I mean, once you know how to use the jQuery select, see, in the jQuery, there are only few things. First is you should know where to point to. Whether to point to jQuery library on your host or on a CDN, and that's the first thing. Second thing is ready function, and third thing is how to use the selectors. That's the most important. Like just now what I'm demonstrating. And last thing is like what are the functions? What are the functionality you would like to achieve? Here in this case, the functionality which I would like to achieve is hide. So if you just do a lookup, I mean, you will get a lot of other API calls. So just do this. You need to call only that API call. That's all. Now you know that you don't have to worry about how to hide it. Now jQuery will take care of it. Yeah, Saiful asked a question. So we can use all the selectors. Yes, you can use almost all the selectors. So if something doesn't work, probably you might just look into jQuery, documentation, and you can see whether that's been supported or not. Almost generally, the most of the time, I think now after CSS3 has come, jQuery also trying to keep as much compatible as possible with the CSS selectors. So, but yes, most of them should work. There might be slight differences, but you can look into the documentation. Yes, pseudo classes as well. Saifali said pseudo classes. Yes, pseudo classes are also available in jQuery. Pseudo class selectors, pseudo element selectors, all of them. Okay. Fine. Any more questions? That's all. See, once you know these four things, I think you know how to use jQuery. Only on the need basis, you can always go to jQuery.com site, and there's a documentation. Go and read the documentation. There's a online itself. They provide the APIs. What do you call it? Not APIs. The references. You go here, API documentation. Click there. And like W3 schools, they are reasonably good API. Like here, you can see. You can search on, I think search functionality is there. Yeah, it's there. So you can search for hide. I think search works. Yeah. Yeah, you see here, the hide. Note that inside, what do you call, probably in these functions also as well. though they are showing up as search results for hide. So somewhere in that document, they would have referred to hide. But what you are interested in is this hide here, this function. You click there. So this is it. So you see the description, it hides all the matched elements. As soon as you say here, this selector, so at this point in time, you selected all the elements on the DOM which match this selector. Now on that, so whatever I selected now, so that will return all the matched objects in the DOM. So on the matched objects, now you are calling a hide function. Now this hide function will iterate to all those matched objects and it'll do the hiding action on that. And so hide also has got some arguments. So duration, like so determining how long the animation will run. Okay. So then complete, a function to call once the animation is complete. So basically, see here when you give default, so animation or hiding happens immediately. Let's say you want to get some hide effect slow effect, then you can specify how long it should take. So note that this number currently it is 400 milliseconds. So you can give even slow as well. Like once that it's completely hidden, let's say if you want to take some action, then you have to specify the second argument complete. Okay, let me just do that. So let me just use only with one, with the P. So now I want the hide to happen in over 2000 milliseconds. I want the function. So this is I'm calling anonymous function. So you see alert, I would say the hiding of para elements is completed. So now this function objects get called after all the animation, hiding animation is completed. Let me see that. Refreshing it. I'm clicking hide paragraph. You see that so the paragraph will be hidden slowly. It's not happening means oh yes, probably. Let me just go and check. Yeah, you see unexpected identifier. Para hide is not defined. Okay. Yeah. So that's because I haven't given open brace here. That's the problem. Okay. So now it's matching. So here, note that. So it should match here. Note that yeah. So this bracket. So this is a function object. So this one, this bracket and this bracket should match, and this is for this hide function, and this close bracket is for this paragraph hide. Now it should work. See, now it's happy. I'm clicking. See, once that animation is completed, you see that alert message. Note that for each paragraph that gets called, since there are how many ever paragraphs, note that this complete function will get called for, let's say, how many paragraphs. Since there are like how many paragraphs? 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs, right? For all those 4 paragraphs, this function gets called. That's the reason why you see that 4 pop-ups. See, I'm clicking hide paragraphs. It's getting hidden. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, because there are 4 paragraphs. Is that clear? Okay, Amna asked a question. How do we know which API calls are available? Okay. Yeah, see, Amna, it's a good question. See, only way you should know what is available is you should look at the documentation. Either see, you should search. See, now we have a very good friend, Google. Go and search in Google. So you put a query saying that here. So you should know what you would like to achieve. Like, so say jQuery hide. So search like that. So most probably Google will take you to the correct place in the first few results. Go there. Like say what API name. Like see here hide happens to the same name, but it's lucky. But for example, how to sometimes you should really go through the API documentation and scan through them and then see what is available. So I think there's no shortcut. So best thing is you go through this API documentation and go and browse, navigate, and what's available. Okay, did that answer your question, Amna? Either you should be smart enough to guess what could be that keyword and then search in Google, or the best thing is go and at least have when if you are using a jQuery, go and have a first quick look at all the API documentation. So go and see that here, like for example here, like for the effects. So what all the effects you can do, custom effects, click on them. So you see what all available. Just read them, and here you know that what you can use. What is animate, what is delay, DQ, finish, and so on. So you should go and basically scan through. For example, on forms, what APIs are available. So you should go and do this. Okay, you have to read about each one of them and use them. Okay. That's fine, Amna. So I think now it's clear, right? So you should, I think there's no shortcut. You should go and basically have one quick walkthrough of API documentation to know what is available, what is not available. Okay, is that fine, Amna? Okay, great. I think once you know these things, I think it's pretty much the same. So as I said, you should know what is the selector, and you should give use the selector, and then that will return some objects, DOM objects. So on all the DOM objects, you take some action. Okay, and so this is how jQuery works. So basically, you select or find some set of HTML elements. Note that you should use a different selector. Let's say if you have operation 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 operations. These 4 operations you would like to do on some set of object 1, 2, 3. So you should use a selector to select object 1, 2, 3, and then do this operation 1, 2, 3, 4 on all of them. So basically, you select as a group, and you apply all the operations on that group in one shot, one after the other. So that is the way you should do it. You select all the elements and then perform or do the operation actions on the selected elements. That's all. So the syntax is here. So dollar, and then you give selector here, pink color, and then you take some action. Note that when you do the action, and after this action is completed, again it will return all those set of all those objects. What it means is, so here you are done the hide function. Okay. Yeah. Note that this hide function is closing here. So on that you should do something like say show. Again on that you should do again operation 1, action 1, and then you do action 2, and so on, like that. So so on this group of elements you can do more than one operation one after the other. You can do dot show, and then after closing the call again you say dot again. So means on the same selected elements you can do one action after the another. You can chain like this any number of times. So this is called chaining or cascading. So that way, so you need to select all the elements only in once, and then you can set of operations you can do one after the other. So this is much more efficient. Cascading or chaining is much more efficient compared to calling them one by one. So see, this is as good as calling like this. So again, so same selector, dollar, and then it's again P, okay, and then show. So you can do this as well, but note that this is inefficient. So you can do this. Reason this is inefficient because you are selecting the all paragraph elements and hiding them. Again, you are selecting all the paragraph elements, showing them, and action 1, action 2. Every time you are selecting, you are doing selection again and again. You don't have to do that. You select only once and apply all the operation in one go. So that is much more efficient. I mean, that way your website will be, so basically execution time will be faster. Is that clear? What is chaining? Chaining is just, I mean, after the function call, again put a dot, again call another function. Put a dot and again call another function, and so on. That's all. So this is one of the beautiful features of jQuery, which is not available, which you cannot do it in a JavaScript. This is where, I mean, you get real productivity and faster response time compared to the handwritten JavaScript code. Is that clear? The chaining. So that is in the later slides. Okay. So that's it. I mean, you can just go through it, and we already demonstrated like how to use paragraph elements. Similarly, dot test. This is a class selector. This is a ID selector. That chaining will happen on one selector. Yeah. Chaining will see here. If you select one object, also on that also you can do chaining. So it doesn't matter whether you selected one object or 1,000 objects. So since you selected, it's there always. Now on that selected object, you can do any number of operations. Did it answer your question, Rohan? Yeah, on one also, yes, you can do it. Okay, and note that you can see here, this is the colon first. So this is pseudo class selectors. You can do this as well. Okay, fine. Any questions here? Note that when I said action here, this action is this here. This action is just placeholder. Okay, there's no function name by action. So what action here I meant? Actual actions are here hide. So this is actual. So please don't get confused. So that's why I shown them as a same green color. Okay. It's 10 o'clock. We are running behind the time. I think we have just another 45 minutes to go. At the most, I'll be able to cover jQuery today. So AngularJS, we might have to do it tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow there are a lot of other things as well, but let's see. If you permit, probably today I'll overflow by another probably 15 minutes or half an hour. So you tell me how much time I can go beyond 11 o'clock. Because say today we started about 10 minutes late, and then we had few questions. Okay, Saifri said we can overflow by 15 minutes beyond 11 o'clock. Karthik said 30 minutes. Okay, we'll go by the least amount, 15 minutes. Okay, we'll go until 11:15. We'll see if we can cover something today. Fine. So any questions here, jQuery? About how to use the selectors, how to chain them. Okay. See, once you know, I think once these are the fundamentals in jQuery. Once you know that, rest of the stuff you can just read either jQuery API documentation or read the slides, and then you'll be able to do it yourself. So the fundamentals are important. So as I said, you can use a comma operator, and so you can use hash and then use the ID class selector. Sorry, ID selector. Use dot and then use a class selector. Use a tag name P, paragraph tag, and then all of them you can use it with comma operator, like we used to do in CSS, and you can select all of them. Okay, so yeah, you can, as I said here, you can do chaining as well, method chaining. So you see here, you're adding a class, and that on that you again dot, again fade out. So This chaining feature is unique to jQuery, whereas that will not be available if you do the handwritten JavaScript. So of course you can also return it when you write it. You can get the same effect, but only thing is on the selected objects you should return from the function, and again you should apply basically both. In the add class you should return the object. In the fade out class again you should take all the return objects again apply on them. So that as long as you take care of that, I think you can use the chaining if you write your own functions as well. Okay, so one important thing is you don't have to select the elements multiple times. You select one shot and apply multiple operations on them using chaining. Okay, so these are all different jQuery methods. For moving you have the different API calls. For getting and setting you have different API calls. For binding the events, for getting the effects, for traversing the elements within the DOM tree, for doing Ajax. So these are all few API calls which I listed for your handy reference. But not that this is not exhaustive list. So you should always refer to the API documentation for the exhaustive list of functions. Okay, and yeah, let me demonstrate one function, probably append to. So see, as you see here, so this append to, basically once you select the elements you can append some text to it. Okay, so let me just copy paste this, and here yeah, that's it. So this is not paragraph hide, this is para append. I'll just change it. So on this link also I'll just change it. So this is not, this is append a paragraph. I'll change the button as well. Okay, and yeah, note that, so this is append paragraph. So now when I click it, you see that a paragraph gets appended to all these paragraphs. You see here, this is a special text has been appended. So this got appended to all the paragraphs. I'm refreshing again. So here I'm just clicking on append paragraph. You see that at the end of these paragraphs, so that special paragraph is not there in red text. When I append it, all of them come. Okay, so that is just as simple as that. So here this is, you see here. So you select all paragraph element, you said append. So in the append, you're given the full text. The text should be appended. Note that this includes your HTML tags as well, because append expects only string. It'll append a string. So if you don't want to do that, like for example, it'll follow the previous style. You can do this as well. Let me see what's happening. Yeah, I didn't do a refresh. I think it looks like, yeah, you see here all the text got appended. Note that whatever the paragraph style, the same paragraph style is applied to this appended paragraph element. See here, this is black and this is green because the previous paragraph is green. So this is red because the previous paragraph is red. Okay, so same style is applied if you just append the text like this. Since I wanted a special so style, note that here in the tag I use the class special. So even the whole, including the tag also you can insert. So once you include with the tags, then what are this class style special? Okay, so where is the special? Yeah, special here. Yeah, this capital special. So special. So this special style is also applied. Note that. So in the JavaScript, this you can insert the tags, and so dynamically what are the style which is there in the CSS style sheet, that style also dynamically applied all of that. So now I'll say you just change it to blue, and 1 minute refresh. You see now all the old blue text got appended because I changed here blue. Okay, that's how you can use the append. Similarly, append to. So as here you can look at the documentation the same way. So basically here it says select all P elements and appends them as child elements to this class. What it does is, so these P elements will get added as a child elements to this class. Let me do that. So you have to read the documentation carefully, and if you don't read carefully, then yeah, here it says basically all these selected paragraph elements will become the childs of this my class. Children, sorry, not childs, children of my class. Okay, so where is my class? Yeah, so what I would like to use, so here the my class is here. So all other paragraphs will become the children of this my class. So I'll just remove that situation 1 to keep it simple. Okay. You see here the my class. So the other 3 paragraph elements, para 1, para 2, all of them have become children of this my class. Note that there the green color border around the paragraph. So means this message para 1, para 2, they're inside this green color border. You see here, so green color border is there only on this paragraph. So once these 3 paragraphs become children of this paragraph, they're enclosed within that. You see, that means they are the children of that. So that's what this append to does. Note that sometimes these might be quite misleading. So you have to read the documentation what they do. Is that clear? What append to does? Okay. So that's why here I said. So see, note that here it says append. This is append to. So you should not think like they are does similar things. They might do completely different things. So here this is appends to the existing objects, whereas here these elements will get appended as children to this class. Amna has asked a question: can we append P according to an order that is different from the default order? So if you want to select append in a different order, then you should do 1 by 1. Select that first one, append it. Select the second one, append next. Select the third one, append next. You should do 1 by 1. So in one shot, you will not be able to specify the order. Did it answer your question, Amna? Okay, yeah. If you want a specific order, in that specific order, you select and then append. Select and append. That works. But currently, by default, it appends in the same lexicographic order in which they are present in the HTML, your HTML file. Okay. Let's move on. So, do you want a break? 5-minute break here? Because we'll go until 10:15. Okay. Amna says yes. We'll take a 5-minute break. Okay. Rohan James also says yes. Okay. Now it is 10:24. We'll be back by 10:30. Okay. As I said, you need to just be careful. Just don't go by the name. Always refer to the documentation and understand what it does. And if possible, write a sample, some demo code where you just put that, write a small HTML and then so link it to JavaScript. Use that function alone, and then see how it behaves. understand it before you using in the your development. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So jQuery has got get methods and also set methods. So generally get methods look like this. Like for example, attribute and give ID value, and then so basically this is gets the ID value, ID attribute which is there on the selected elements. Note that when you have more than one element, it always returns as an array of objects. So you have to iterate through them. So if you want to set the ID, so ID is here attribute, and you're setting some value to the all those selected paragraph elements. So this set element method, it adds ID is equal to my ID value on all the paragraph elements. And similarly, for getting the HTML content and setting it, for getting the value, so this value gets the content inside the P element. So this one and so on. So similarly, if you want to get the top attribute of CSS for these paragraph elements, so this is a get method and this is a set method. So here top you are setting to 30 pixels and so on. So for most of them you will have get and set methods, or I mean if if like for example for animating something you will have only one function call. And note that even those functions will have some arguments. So by default, I mean, you see some cases they expect that some argument should be present mandatorily. Obviously, you have to give it compulsorily. Otherwise, if you don't give any arguments, it'll default to default values and then behave it that way. We have seen the jQuery hiding. Similarly, for setting the colors, like for example, let me use this. Same thing. So I don't want here, I'm calling on the ready function, but I'm not interested to call on ready. So here, what I'll do is I'll just do some editing. So here, so the click on paragraph. Yeah, so this is a little complicated. So you need to see one way is I mean, have an on click attribute like this, okay, which we have seen until now it's working. Let me remove that. Okay, so this way you have to do it. I mean, like say when you let me have that. Okay, so if you do it, I mean, here note that on ready function, so this function gets called. So inside the function, so you need to do proper indentation, otherwise you will not understand. So indent like this. So what it does is basically here it takes, yeah. So you are giving you are associating a click function on whenever on paragraph elements on any paragraph. If you click, so this function objects will get called. So this again is anomalous function. So this is a function body. So you have to put it in a separate line. So inside that, what you are doing is again you are selecting all the paragraph elements. Okay, and then note that this may not be efficient. So you are setting CSS property. CSS property, what you are setting is here. Okay, you are giving within the open brace and close curly brace. So this is syntax is similar to. Very similar, but only thing instead of semicolon you have comma. So basically you are giving name, this is some name and then value, those pairs. So here font size and then pairs, font size and font size value, and that. So see what you are sending is object. So if you remember, curly brace denotes object. So inside the object you are giving, this is the name and then value, the name as our attribute or value. So you are creating an object. So what you are doing is you are creating an object. Inside that you have two attributes and set values, and then send that object as argument to CSS. This CSS function call ends here. So that is ending there. Okay. And then, so note that this, so red brackets. So that is the end of this anonymous function. And then after that, this closing brace is for this click function. Since you are this is the whole function. This way, therefore, you should give a semicolon there. Okay, and then you have this function again, which you get called out when the document is ready. So that function is getting closed there, and then this bracket is closing here. And since this whole thing is a JavaScript statement, and you're ending with semicolon. So note that. So there's so many brackets. So if you miss out any of these brackets, so JavaScript will give some vague error which you will not be able to understand. So when you're using JavaScript, since there are a lot of anonymous functions and you're calling like in a nested fashion, so you should always indent properly so that you understand what is happening. So as soon as so this gets so note that initially it'll get associated upon the function is ready, but it will happen only after when you click on the paragraph. Let's see that. Open that. Note that I am clicking up. Let me ensure that there is no errors. Let me go to check in the developer tools. So here in the console, so you see here I am in the console, no errors, means everything is fine. Now I am clicking on these paragraphs. So you click on any paragraphs. You see now font style has changed. Font style has changed to blue, and then style has increased. Because here I given color as blue and font size is 100. So let's change it to 200%. And here, so which one? Probably blue, green, yellow, or cyan color. Right? Refresh it. So now I'm clicking on, see, note that any paragraphs. So now that onClick function is applied to on all the paragraphs. Now you can click on any paragraph. So now the font size has increased and color has changed to cyan. So this is how you can do it. Is that clear? So yeah, in this, like here in this code, it might look very complicated because of a lot of brackets, curly braces, and then semicolons in between. You see these all, so it might be very confusing. But when you indent it, it will be much better. Okay. Any questions here? Like what I'm doing, I hope it is clear. So this is on ready, this function gets called. So in this anonymous function, basically you are associating a callback function. This is so on click. So on click you are sending as an argument, and using this selector you select all the paragraphs and you associate this click function for all of them. And inside this callback function, again you are selecting all paragraphs and then changing their CSS style. So in jQuery you have to think recursively. So if you think recursively, things will be much simpler. Sometimes it might be very confusing. So Karthik asked a question, why are we not using append? Here my intention is to not append. You see, you mean no append, you appends only the text to the content. See here my intention is not to append some content to the text. So note that this text it remains same. So I'm not appending something to this text. This is the content of the paragraph. I'm not append will do only appending of content to the paragraph element. Means it will append at the end of this message. Here, I'm not appending here. You can basically add a new class to it to change the style. That is another way of changing the style. You said what are the second and third dollar sign for? Okay, Amna, I'll come back to you. Let me just complete Karthik's question. I mean appending function together instead of putting in a loop. Is that the format? What appending? I didn't get it. So which one? I mean, second dollar. Yeah, see this. You mean? Yeah. Let me come back to Amna's question. See the second dollar. See second dollar. See the first dollar is for the ready function. Second dollar is for selecting the p elements and then associating the click on all those paragraph elements. Third also So basically on all the paragraph elements, you are changing the CSS style. That's what is the third argument, third dollar for. Got it? Amna, is that clear? Note that this is not very efficient, but you can do it efficiently. But just I would like to demonstrate that, okay, yes, you can do this way as well. Yes, for every selector, it has to start with dollar. Because if you remember, dollar, it's a short name for jQuery. So, okay. So wherever I use dollar, I can go and replace jQuery. So you can happily do it. Basically, dollar is a short name for jQuery. That's it. You can do this as well. Note that all dollars, if you're not comfortable with dollars, you can dollar you replace with jQuery. And let's note that I'll change it to green. And this I'll make it, let's say 300. Or let's, okay. Let me refresh it. You see here, green and 300. Because see, all the dollars I replace with jQuery. In jQuery, basically dollar and jQuery are synonymous. Wherever dollar, I mean, most of the times, basically here in jQuery related places, jQuery you can replace with dollar and dollar with jQuery. Is that clear? So if you're not comfortable with dollar, you can replace with jQuery. Your choice. Yeah, Amna asked question. Okay, I hope that's clear. I mean, so yes, for every selector you have to use dollar, and then yeah, $.action is the format. Yes, so if you remember in my slide, so that is the format. So you can see here. So you're always the dollar followed by selector followed by .action. So that is the format how jQuery works. Okay, Amna, I hope I answered your question. So, okay, coming back to Karthik's question. Multiple functions can be appended. Yeah, see, I said, see, in the jQuery, you can always use the chaining. So you call one function, after calling the function again dot, again another function dot, so on. So that is called chaining. So yeah, you can call on the selected elements, you can use the chaining as well. So you mean to say, when can we use chaining here? Oh, you cannot use chaining here because, see, you are associating a click function. Okay, here you cannot use chaining. You cannot do CSS like this, because when you do it, as soon as this function gets associated, immediately you are changing the CSS style. But that's not your intention. Your intention is only on click it should happen. Since it should happen only on the click, so again you should do that changing of the style only inside that function body. If you can do outside, but it will happen immediately. As soon as the click function gets associated, it will happen the changing of style. But that's not your intention. Your intention is only on click it should happen. Okay, I think yeah, you got it. So you have to be, see, the few things you have to be careful with the brackets, both round brackets and also curly brackets. And you should be careful about where to put comma, where to put semicolon, and you should also worry about the proper nesting. So that if you take care of these things, I think your jQuery will work fine. So actually, yeah, this might look a little complicated, but the same thing, note that whatever you written here, so here it might like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 lines. But the same 8 lines, if you had to write in JavaScript, probably you would ended up doing probably close to 20, 30 lines. Okay, but but actually not even 7 lines, but actually you can do this way. The number of lines will reduce significantly. So I think this is the smallest you can do. Here also you can do this way. So you see here, like just 4 lines. Ideally, it's only 4 lines. But if you write the same thing in JavaScript, it may end up like minimum 20 or 30 lines. And note that this is even foolproof. Now you're, see, not too much of JavaScript code is there here. So you're mainly focused only on the function, what you want to get done. You want to change the style, so that you do it here. You associate the click function that you do it here, click, and you want to select all the P elements, that you do it here. That's all. So you are mainly, this is completely focused, it's object focused. So your intent, you just writing your intent, what you want to do. That's all. But only thing is syntax looks a little complicated, but yeah, you have to get used to it. That's all. Okay. Like this is like your so airplane cockpit. Airplane cockpit, it looks very complicated. If you walk, I don't know how many of you walked into cockpit. I had a luxury in Air France to go walk into a cockpit. It looks very complicated, but you should know what to use when. It's very easy. You can control complete airplane with cockpit controls. So like that, this jQuery is like a airplane cockpit, and it looks very complicated, but you should know what to use when and how to use it. It will be very simple. Okay, is that clear? Any questions here? Amna, yeah, Saifali replied no questions. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now let's go back. So we finished it. We finished this as well. Yeah. Similarly, here let me just use one more demo. So here I would like let me use this code. Okay. So I'll stop using this. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'll just remove this code so that I'm gonna keep it simple. So note that here I'm ready. I'm calling this function. So on this function, what I'm doing is I'm selecting all li elements. Inside li, I have some anchors. So basically, all the anchors which are embedded inside li tag, I'm selecting them. On that, I'm clicking. So I'm associating a click event. So whenever I click, I want this function to get executed. So that function is this. Okay. So that function is basically, note that here I'm not using again second dollar. I'm not using selector again. So here I'm using this. Means, so note that this selector will return basically set of objects in an array, and this click function will get associated in each of those elements. So whatever is the current element on that object, element object. Okay, so if you want to refer to that object, you can say this instead of again selecting them. So on this element, so I want to basically there's a HTML. Okay, I want to add HTML content. So which I would like to change it to Google, and then on those again objects, I want to change href attribute to google.com. Here my intention is, yeah, let me just look at the code. Here I have so UL, and under that I have li tags. Within the li tags I have the anchor tag. So currently here this is IBM, so which points to IBM site. The Microsoft, which points to Microsoft site. Let's look at that code. Okay. Yeah. So these are the link to IBM and link to Microsoft. So let me just associate with a tag. Note that currently here I am associating with a or when the document is ready, then so this gets effect. Sorry, yeah. Now I'm asserting only click. Only if I do click, it happens. Let me make sure that there's no errors in JavaScript. Look at in the JavaScript console. Yeah, there's no errors, means everything is fine. So now, so if you click, note that this is IBM, then Microsoft. When I click on any of these paragraphs, because I started event, click event. When I click on it, nothing is happening. Means something is wrong. Go and check in JavaScript console. Nothing happened. Means it's not getting asserted properly. Let me see what is happening. Okay. It should happen. So something somewhere and some error will be there. One minute. I'm clicking. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I should click on the link. Yes, because I selected on the link. So on this anchor, I should click. Okay. Yeah. So So let me just So here, so on this link, I'm clicking now. So this link. See now, it's changed to Google. So I'm changing and clicking on. So now I'm clicking and then it's going to the Google. It's happening simultaneously because so it changes and also it immediately takes you, since it takes the effect of clicking on the link, it goes. You see here I'm clicking, it changes to Google and then takes you to Google page. See Google and then taking me to Google page. So, but you don't want that. So just here for demo purposes, I use both changing of the content and changing the attribute. Note that when you do this href is equal to this value, here this href will get, this ibm.com will get replaced with google.com and then it will go to that google.com. Yeah. Thanks, Safali. Thanks for pointing out. Yeah. So here you need to, because here I associated the click on the anchor. Note that. So this is li inside li. So this is the object. These are the objects which get selected. So anchor objects. So on the anchor objects, I am associating a click. Okay. So not li or not paragraphs. So it is only on the anchor object. So only clicking on the anchors will trigger that. So is that clear? So you need to click on this link. So change to Google. Any questions here? Thanks, Saifali, for pointing it out. Okay. Looks like there are no questions. Similarly, so you can try it out. All this code works. Okay. So after testing only, I put it in this slides. So you can just try out. Because of lack of time, I'll not be able to demonstrate all of them. I think now you got a fair idea of how to write the code in jQuery. You can try it out yourself. Similarly, here you can see now I'm using so on that on that element button. So you can use the name is equal to. So this is very complicated selector if you remember CSS. So you are trying to get the exact value of an attribute name, and then that is a selector you can use, and that you can associate any function. So the same way. So you can use even adding a class, removing a class. So that is as good as you adding a class here. Like say, so now see this is existing class. So you add a class like this situation 1. So if you want to add a class like this dynamically, you can use add class. Note that as soon as the class gets added, the style associated with this class will get applied dynamically. So this is how, whenever you want to dynamically change the style, so this is how you need to add a class and remove a class. So that's the easiest and clean way to change the style dynamically. Okay. Let me just demonstrate that. Like say, so click. So on click, I want to add the success in green. Rather than anchor class, I'll use P class, and here I'll say add class. So here I'll say success. I think I should have code somewhere here down for that add class. Okay, let me just try. I mean, the only thing is if I try afresh, I mean, I might miss out on few things. Again, I have to debug it. So let me see if it works. Yeah, refresh it. Okay, so I thought of demonstrating this alone, add class. Let me search. Yeah, so it's essentially same, just you need to put this class name, and that class gets added to that paragraph. It should work. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, I'm clicking the paragraph. So you have to be careful. Yeah, let me just check out. I mean, add this working. So let me just skip. Probably I'll demonstrate tomorrow. So it's just the same thing. Just add class and the class name. That's it. So let me just skip this. Yeah. So in jQuery, like see, this is the element. On this element, you can get basically the element width, its inner width, outer width, and outer width, the completely outer width. So here I shown so these functions you can call them to get what is this element width, where the content is shown. So including the padding, if you want, then you should call inner width. So this is including the padding. If you want including the border, you should call outer width. So these width, inner width, outer width, true, all these are the JavaScript functions. So once you select the element, on that element you can call these functions. Similarly, heights also. So this is how you can call it. So width and inner width, and you can get the elements in terms of pixels. Okay. So let me move on. So you can just copy paste the code, same code, it should work because I tested all the code. And similarly for traversing the elements, like for example, if you, from the selected elements, if you want to go to the parent, you can call the parent. If you want to go to all the parents and so on, like siblings, children, all of them you can get it. Like yeah, let's say if you want to filter some objects, you can give you can use equal to slice. Let's say for example, if you out of 10 elements, if you want to apply only for on second element and third element. Okay, I think sometime back someone asked a question like if you want to selectively select the element, you can use the slice operator. So here in the slice, basically slice takes the range. You should specify the range from second element to sixth element. So you want to apply some operation, you can use the slice operator. So yeah, and then apply them. Because of lack of time, I will not be able to demonstrate all of them. You can just try it out. If you have any questions, probably you can ask in the next question. I'll be able to clarify. let me make a note of that add class. So add class and remove class demonstration. I'll do it in next class. Okay, so just it should work. I think yeah, you're right. I think I haven't put dot, right? I think here I think yeah. So you should not put the dot. Let me try that. I think just yeah, you should not put the dot. No, I think something else is wrong. Let me just debug it. So yeah, you should not put the dot, but still even success should work. So I'll get back to you on that. I think I got it working. It works. Just that okay, something is missing. That's why it's not working. Yeah, when I'm changing the code while giving the demonstration, these things do happen because I miss out some things. Because I have the time. We have a time pressure, right? Yeah. Let's see. Let's see what is the difference between CSS3 and jQuery. So in jQuery, you call the first this function. So the same functionality you can do it in CSS3 using :first child. And similarly, last child, like children, you get nth children and then give n. So since the jQuery, the such navigation and selection functions, first, last, children are there as a pseudo classes in CSS3. That's the reason why I was saying that okay, if you use CSS3, you don't require the full power of jQuery. Only things the power which is missing in CSS3, only then you might need jQuery. So these left side pseudo selectors of CSS3 and the right side functions of jQuery are their equivalent. Similarly, you can get the effects like visibility related, showing, hiding, fade out, fade in. Let's say if you want to slide up, slide down, you can get the sliding related functions. Like you can do this simple animation, not very sophisticated animation like CSS3 provides. CSS3 provides much more sophisticated animation compared to jQuery. So you can do those animations. Yeah. So all this, like after animation has been completed, so what to call and so on. Like for example, on hiding is completed. So within that animation, how much time it should take doing the animation and what is the callback function. So this is the syntax. This you can always refer to the API documentation. Similarly, like animate function in jQuery is equivalent to transition attribute in CSS3. Okay, and like for example, on each selected elements, if you want to do some attribute, sorry, some function, so they can use each. So on each of these, so it will do this style change of color from to red. Note that here I use this. Basically on each of the selected elements, so the style is changed. Similarly, here you are hiding within the hiding animation you want to take place in 200 milliseconds, that is 2 seconds, and after hiding is completed, this function gets called for each element. Yeah, and next comes to the Ajax request. So here, basically here, so this is just like sending the GET request, HTTP GET request. This is for doing the Ajax calls. I hope all this setup has been working. Let me just try copy pasting this. It should work. Okay. Let me see if I have server working. So this index.php, it's here. Where is it? Yeah. So I have my Bitnami LAMP stack installed here. So this is an Apache 2. So here I have good HTTP docs, and I have PHP installed here, not here. Yeah, PHP is installed here. So in this Apache 2 HD docs, I should have, yeah, this index.php. Yeah. So yeah, here I modified for something else. Let me just comment out. Yeah, so here in this PHP script, what I am doing is, so forget about this commented out code. This is commenting out. Yeah, so only it has got, let's say I'm setting a string, welcome to all the students of front-end web development, in a string, and then so this access control allow origin has to be set, otherwise I mean the Chrome browser, this is for security reasons, will not basically display the contents which receives from the web browser. And here let me just not sleep, and then this echoes out, this comes as a response. So I can have sleep because I mean I want that to happen after a few seconds. I hope that works fine. And then I have HTML code here. So this is my Ajax call. So if you properly indent it, so it will be clear what I'm doing here. So here what I'm doing is I'm selecting the button which has got the name Ajax button. On that I'm associating a click function. In this click function, so this is a function, click function. Okay. So in this click callback function, basically I'm making an Ajax call. So Ajax calls starts with $.ajax, and here you should give what is the server in the URL. You should give what is the URL, the server on which you would like to send the Ajax request. So this is my 127.0.10 0.1. So this is my local server. On that you would like to send it to this index.php. This index.php is same as what I showed here, this index.php. So here you pass some arguments. So here different values. Note that this is an object. What you're sending is an object. So inside the curly brace, Ajax takes an object as a argument. Inside the argument, you're giving attribute value pairs. One attribute URL where you would like to send, and here Ajax async means asynchronous call. Since Ajax by name says so it's asynchronous JavaScript and XML, right? So if you don't give async will be true by default. Let's say if you want to make a synchronous call for some reason, you have to make it false. Know that it is a little confusing. Async is true means you want to make asynchronous call is true. So you want asynchronous calls. If you async false means it's not asynchronous, means it is synchronous. You are making a synchronous call. So let me make it true. And then when this asynchronous Ajax call is successful, then so what function to be called? That you give as a value for success attribute. Note that success attribute takes a function call, sorry, function object. So the function object, whatever the this PHP, so it is sent out, spit out. So that result, that output will be there in the as argument to the result. So that argument, so I'm taking, and then so there is a Ajax response, which is I defined on a element. Note that this is a ID attribute. So on that Ajax response, so I'm setting HTML content, which is the what I got from the Ajax output of this index.php. So this is the end of the object. Sorry, this is the end of this function, and this is the end of this Ajax object here, and this is the end of this Ajax call. And since Ajax is one statement, I'm ending with semicolon. And then since this function is there, so there is a function object. I'm closing with again bracket. And since this is a function object, this is a click function, I'm closing it again round brackets and semicolon, because that is a statement. Yeah, this is a, because this whole thing is a statement. This whole thing is a statement. And then, so this is again closing this function and this closing this function. This ready. So this is so nested. Let me just open that, refresh it, and let me see where this Ajax button is. So here this Ajax button is just a say Ajax request. So when you click on it, so basically you are associating on this Ajax button, you are associating that on click, you are associating that function. So see, just below it I have span element. So Ajax response will just below that Ajax request button, you will get the Ajax response. Let me see. So clicking on Ajax. So yeah, now something again, it's broken. Yeah, you see here. Yeah, you got it. Sorry, because I introduced a 5 seconds delay, right? Yeah, I didn't notice. See, so you did a 5 seconds delay. So if you remove that 5 seconds delay, you get it immediately. So it came out. So you see, I'm clicking on this, you get it immediately. So welcome to all the students of front-end web development. So you are making Ajax call to the server running on this machine, and then getting a response, and then you're inserting it here. So it's just as simple as that. So if you introduce delay of 5 seconds, let's say 2 seconds or 3 seconds, you'll see that. So I'm clicking, I'm waiting for 3 seconds. So that gets inserted. So this is how you can make Ajax calls. It's just as simple as that. So it might look complicated, but just thing is, this is URL to send it to. So note that even if you don't give, still it's a Ajax request, because by default it takes is it asynchronous. By default this Ajax is async true. So welcome to Edureka front-end web development. So refreshing it, clicking on it, and you see here after 3 seconds, yeah, you get that. Okay. So as I said here, so async. So even if you give async, you omit it, so still it is a asynchronous call. Only if you want to make a synchronous call, so only then you have to give async is equal to false. So let's say if for some reason, if successful, this gets called. So on error, so if error happens, then you should give, let's say again give a comma here, because that's argument, not argument, it's attribute. So like error, and then you should give again another function. So whatever you would like to define. So on error, whatever you would like to define. So statements like, for example, alert. Alert, you say, so could not connect to the server. So you can display some error message like that, or whatever you would like to display. Fine. So not error here, error. Yeah. You can look at what are the arguments which Ajax takes it. You can always go to jQuery and search for Ajax here. Here, search Ajax, and you will get to know what are the different arguments it can take. So note that these are all Ajax. So yeah, so you need to basically search. I think, yeah, this one, this function. So here you can see URL, and so there is a async. Yeah, the async is equal to, by default it is true. So you can read what the behavior here. So that's how you can make a Ajax calls. Like say error, so there is error. So data, yeah, error. So when error happens, that function object gets called. Okay, so this is how you can make an Ajax call. Any questions regarding the Ajax calls in jQuery? Yeah, so this is a server-side script which I showed. note that this is essential. If you don't give this, so basically for security reasons, browser, that's Chrome browser will not display it. So this is called, there's something called cross origin course, CORS. Okay, so you can search in Google course. So here you can see this is called cross origin resource sharing. So you can read about this Wikipedia page. So to allow this cross origin resource sharing, so I need to set this header. Only then it will display, otherwise not. Yeah, coming back to the slides. Yeah, so that is the end of JavaScript jQuery. So this AngularJS I'll demonstrate in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we'll be basically discussing about the advanced web programming concepts. So in that we'll before that we'll start with this as well. AngularJS. Any questions? It's 10, 11, 16. So we just overshot by 16 minutes. You permitted for 15 minutes. Yeah, I finished it. So AngularJS will, because of lack of time, we could not cover it today. So we'll cover tomorrow. And yeah, I'm done from my side. So you have any questions here regarding jQuery? AngularJS is also like jQuery. It is also JavaScript framework. Any questions? Any questions? Amna, James, Karthik, Rohan, Saifali. I'm not getting any response from you, any one of you. Yeah, Saifal asked a question. Yeah, you said you have a question regarding the last module assignment. Yeah, Amna, you said JavaScript is so vast. How to grasp enough of it? Yeah, Amna, I mean, there's no shortcut. I know that. See, that's the reason why, I mean, see, you will not be able to need all of JavaScript. So JavaScript, I agree, it's a huge. See, what I covered in this class, which is just like 6 hours, it's not enough. I would say it's just only about not even 5% of JavaScript. JavaScript, there's even much more advanced concepts like closures. I mean, even I myself, I think I can say I know only about 20 or 25%, not more than that. So there's 75% more for me also to learn. So a real professional should be able to develop a framework like jQuery or AngularJS. Only then I would say that you grasp close to 80% or 90% of JavaScript. Still there's something more to left. So yeah, I mean, it takes a really long time. I mean, so to really grasp full JavaScript, so I would, yeah, it'll take a few years for you to master it. So only my suggestion is, so use jQuery to really achieve the task at hand, so that you can complete, get it working, something. So yeah, JavaScript might take a long time. So I think if you really start reading the source code of jQuery and then AngularJS, such a front-end framework which are written in JavaScript, if you really read the code and also understand those concepts like closure and other stuff, and only then you'll really master it. Yeah, I think in a short duration it's not possible to really grasp full JavaScript. It's a really powerful language. I mean, only thing is because of security reasons it cannot do few things. And another thing is there is Google has implemented what is called V8. If you remember, V8 is the name of the engine which JavaScript. It's a JavaScript engine which is implemented by Google. Google over a period of last few years, probably 5 or 10 years, so they really implemented JavaScript in such an optimized way, so that you can use the same that V8 engine has been used on the server side also. As you've seen, I use a PHP code as a server-side scripting language, but this node.js, I think you got it right? So if you remember, there's something called node.js. So this is a server-side scripting language which is written in JavaScript. So that JavaScript in server-side scripting uses V8 engine of Google, and which is much more optimized. And for very high performance, very fast response scripting, Node.js is recommended because it uses very highly optimized V8 engine of Google. Yeah, see one advantage is now, since you know JavaScript, you can use both on the client side as well as server side. So you don't have to learn a new language like PHP. So with JavaScript itself, you can get the performance on the server side, and also you can get the functionality what is required on the server side, dynamic scripting on the server side. So this is still a new technology, Node.js. Still there would be some stability issues, but it is the way to go in the future. But PHP does exist for the people who are of my age. They continue to use PHP for some more time because of it's for last close to 20 years. Almost it is started at the same time the internet has started. It's been really tried and tested and secure, and people trust it. And there's a lot of people who know PHP compared to JavaScript. That's why PHP does exist for some more time in the future. But definitely Node.js is also picking up as a server-side scripting language. Yeah, any questions here? Yeah, just one more thing before we disconnect. So you wanted a special session on like what it means to publish a website on the public internet. So for that special session, I recommend next Saturday. So next Saturday around the same time. Okay. Next Saturday, that is on 28th February, the same time, 8 a.m. IST. So I'll ask Edureka team to schedule a special session on that day, 8 a.m. IST on 28th February. And so we can, basically I'll not have any slides. So it's only mainly question and answer session. So you have to come up with questions. Okay. And then I'll be able to answer them. So I don't have any. So if you want any specific questions to be answered, you can always route them through Edureka support. Raise a ticket and send the query through Edureka support. I'll get it and I'll try to answer those questions. If you have any questions upfront, definitely if you send the questions upfront, that will be really helpful because I can prepare. I can read up if I don't know the answer and then answer those specific queries. Most probably I will not have any slides. I'll see if I get time permits. I'll prepare some slides. But from my side, I will not be preparing any slide as of now. Only if time permits. Because I don't know what you want. So you should get back to me like what you would like to know from me in those. So one question is like how to publish sites. So any other questions, you should just send it through Edureka support. So then time will start at 8 a.m. So depending upon how many questions you have, so we'll stop in maximum 3 hours. Okay, is that fine? Next Saturday, 8 a.m. February 28th. Is that time? So yeah, Amna replied positively. James and Saifullah also replied positively. Don also replied positively. Okay, so then yeah, all of you are fine with that time. So we'll have a special session. So as I said, please send your queries upfront through Edureka support so that I'll be able to answer them. And it will be mainly free flowing. So you can keep asking. If you cannot send it, you can always keep a note of all those questions in the class itself. You can just ask in the session itself. You can ask questions. I'll be try to answer them on the fly. So why I need upfront is so that if I don't know something, I'll not be wasting your time. I'll do my homework and then answer those questions. Only for that reason I need the questions upfront. Otherwise, if I know, I'll answer them on the fly. Okay, anything else? It's 11:25. Thanks for agreeing to overflow by 15 minutes. Okay, and last but not the least, at the end of the session, so you'll get the feedback survey form. Please fill in the feedback. Your support and your encouragement really gives me the energy. Your support and your feedback, what gives me the energy to answer our questions, and then make sure that okay, you got best out of this course. So feel free to see in next class if you have any questions regarding jQuery. Also, please send it through Edureka support. As I said, if you send the questions advance, I'll do my homework and then demonstrate it quickly rather than wasting time in the session. Like today, I tried to do add clause, but it didn't work. But just that I got something wrong somewhere. That's why it didn't work. Otherwise, all of them will work beautifully fine. Yeah, Saif Ali has a query. Yes, Saif Ali. Good. In the last assignment. Yeah. So if you are dropping off this session, please fill in the feedback without fail. So that is a favor you do to me. Yeah, Saif Ali. Yeah, good night, James. Yeah, Saif Ali, yeah, you said email. So regarding the last assignment. Yeah, I didn't get your question. Can you just put your complete question? Email entered in the inbox. No, I didn't understand what you're asking. No, I didn't. Okay, let me just put you on air so that I can get you a question directly. Yeah, Saif Ali, you are on the air. You can speak up in the microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get.
I'm asking you.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Yeah. In your last assignment, you told me that after the user type in an email ID in the inbox and click on add button, and then email enter in the box should be inserted in the DOM.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it. Okay, fine. Let me just open that assignment. Okay, now I got what you're asking.
I'm not able to complete this assignment.
Okay, fine. Let's fine. Anyhow, see, I think, just for your information, today evening, my time, 8:30 p.m. IST. So the same batch, front-end development, is starting. Okay, there is a second batch of this session.
Okay.
So because for the people who are there in US, for their convenience, we have 8:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. IST. So second batch is starting. So since our second batch is starting, I might be tied up with something. Otherwise, I had a plan of for all the assignments, I'm going to put the solutions, and even solutions also will get uploaded into the Edureka site. So if any of you want to cross-check your assignments, you can always cross-check. But I prefer you to send it to me so that I can give the feedback. So on each and every element, I think recently, sometime back, one of you have submitted the assignment. Let me see who submitted the assignment. Yeah, Amna Khan has submitted assignment 4.
Yeah, I did all the assignment, but didn't submit it.
Yeah, you please send it. Okay. Send it to me.
I did also.
Yeah, as and when time permits, because I'll give a very elaborate feedback on what you can do. If you want such elaborate feedback, if you send it to me, so I expected that each one of you will submit the assignment, as and then like for example, this week's assignment, I wanted to send it by end of next Friday, so that I can go. I have about 5 days of time to go through and then give the feedback to each one of you in detail. Until now, only Amna submitted assignment 4, and I sent the detailed feedback with her. I think she got value out of it. Yeah, so that was the only assignment I got until now. But I'll be putting the solutions. But if you want to cross-check yourself, you can do that. But only thing is, you have to really figure out, compare my code with your code, and then see what you have done. And but you will not be able to know what is the better way to do it. If I know that mistake you committed, I can find out, okay, this is not the right way to do it. So you'll get the feedback, much better feedback. Yeah, I'll see if as and when time permits, I'll try to put the solutions for each of these assignment one by one. But yeah, you'll get the solutions for all of them except project. Project I'll not be able to do it. Project you have to do all by yourself. For assignment, I'll be giving the solutions. So let me just open that assignment.
I did all the assignment, but
8?
Assignment 8, right?
Okay.
But I am not able to understand this assignment.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Because I missed this class.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, this says, okay, let's create HTML page in multiple emails can be entered. This page should have input box, input field to enter an email ID. Next input field, add email. Should provide it. Okay, got it. So this is similar to what is there in Google.
Yeah, I saw
You
that.
saw that, right? So basically in Google, let's say if you want to enter the multiple email IDs. So click on the email ID. Basically dynamically you need to add label. You need to insert an element which is label. And also you should insert input box. Label and input box should dynamically on the click button. When you click on the button, you should dynamically insert those elements. And so you should insert it as soon as the user enters it. So that should be basically when you click on the next button. So basically it should show in the above. Getting it?
Okay. So what does this mean? Insert it in the DOM?
Yeah, you need to insert dynamically in the DOM using JavaScript, not jQuery. With jQuery it will be much easier, but with JavaScript it will be a little more involved.
Okay.
Okay. I think I would suggest you to wait until I give you the solution for these things. Okay. So then you can cross check on how to do it. So idea is the let me just.
And if I want to add this label and insert a box in a paragraph, then what I need to do?
Yeah. So basically you need to select. So let's say in case of jQuery, so I can do it. I mean, it'll take about 10-15 minutes for me to do that. So what you need to do is you need to see how to select basically particular element. So basically how to create a button, right?
Yes.
Let me try doing it. Let me see. Can you just give me a 5-minute break? I can demonstrate it right away. I'll just take a 5-minute break. Is that okay?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, let me just take a 5-minute break, then I'll be back.
Yeah, right.
Great. Okay, let me just copy a new file. Okay. I'm just copying it in a new file. This is module 8, right?
Yeah.
Assignment. Solution. Okay. So I'm just copying that. I'll close other stuff. So this is a module 8 assignment. Okay. So I'll change this. Anyway, I have to do it. So I'll remove all of this. I'll remove the rest of the code as well. Okay, I don't need JavaScript as well. So let me put in the same one file rather than multiple files. So here I need to put let's say one paragraph which says click on the button add email button to add a new email box. Okay, this is the message. Let me open and see it. Copy full path. Okay, fine. So this CSS, it is cribbing. I'll just no style now. Okay, it's happy. Yeah, since I want this to be bold, so I can do it just like as a quick. Okay, fine. So now see, initially I would like to display a label, right? So say label, and then say what's your home email. Okay. What they say? Just say email 1. Label, right? So next to it, where are you based, Saif Ali?
Yeah, actually my daughter.
Where do you live?
I'm in Germantown, USA.
Where in Germany? Okay.
Germantown, USA.
Oh, Germantown, oh, US. Which state?
Yeah. Maryland.
Maryland. Okay, good. Yeah. So this is a label. So see, we need input box, right? So input, and then say type is equal to. So I need a text box, right? Or you can put even email as well. So since email is there,
Email.
so ideally, I mean, I want that email. So then close the input.
Yeah.
That's it. Let's see. So you got now email, right?
Yeah.
Do you see that? So so I need a button now. So what do I need? I need a button. So so on button. Sorry. This is like add a new email. So this button. Okay, this I get it. So since I want it in the next one, so what you should do is, I mean, you should actually, one thing is, the quick and dirty way is do a break here. That's a quick and dirty way.
Yeah.
Okay. So but cleaner way is, I mean, you do the styling in CSS. This styling. So that's it. For now, let me do a very dirty way. But, okay. Just for the demo purpose. So see now, see when you click, nothing happens. So that's because I haven't associated anything here. So here I should do onClick. Unclick, I should say add new email. So this JavaScript function, right? So this add new email. So you should write a function, okay? And then so this is my function. So just test it whether it works fine or not. You are about to add a new email, just to make sure, okay, everything is fine. Because I'm clicking, I want that to happen. So yes, it is happening. Do you see that? Okay.
Yes.
So let's say if you want some more space, you do a quick and dirty way. I have some space. Now see, let me go back to assignment. I don't remember. So now page should have an input field to enter an email box. Okay. Next to the input field, add an email. Okay, which I did it. Button should be provided. After the user types in an email ID in the input box, okay, and clicks add email, or I would say, so basically clicks again add a new email. So currently say I'll type in sayasri@gmail.com. So now I finished it. Actually speaking, so I didn't want to make it complicated. So basically you should have a save button or something like that. So even Google also does the same thing. If you, after adding, if you want to add another email, so there in Google, as soon as you go out of focus, so what they do is they immediately save it through Ajax call. They make Ajax as soon as you're like, see now cursor is there inside the input box. As soon as you go out of focus like this, out of focus. There is out of there is a, I don't remember the function name. Basically, if you go out of focus, there is an event. One event gets triggered. On that event, what they do is they take this email ID and then make AJAX request and send it to the backend server. So on the backend server, they save that email ID and then they send the updated content. Okay. So here what I want is when I'm clicking on it, I want this email ID to come in the at the top. Yeah. So for that,
in a label.
Pardon?
Yeah, it should come in a label. The email ID.
So come again. I didn't get you. Can you repeat?
When click on add new email, and the first email ID should come in a label.
Correct. So basically, just before this input box, I want the email ID and the email to come there. So let me demonstrate it. So since I want that to be added here, okay. So what I can have on paragraph element. Okay. Initially, it will be null, empty. Okay. So here since I would like to add it to this, I'll define uniquely. So email list. Okay. Presently, you have not entered any emails. Okay. So in this, I want the whatever the email ID you entered, it should come. Okay. Got it. Well, let me do that. So here what you should do is in the add new email. So you should get whatever is there in input box. Okay, whatever the user has entered. So that you should take it. So the way you can do it is you have to go and look at
document.create element.
You don't have to create the element. Element will be. I'll just add it to. You can create the element. That's one way. But since I already have one placeholder here, email list, to this element itself, I can insert it.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay.
So,
yes.
So let me just. I'm just thinking how to get the. Let me just go back and search in Google. Let me try. Rather than getting it. So here I would say where email is equal to here I would say document dot get element by ID. Right. Here let me just take I would like to make sure that I can alert the inner element content is let me see. Just I want to make sure that okay, I'm doing this get element by ID correctly or not. Yeah, so it's displaying something. Okay, because it's a paragraph element. So here instead I should not get this email. I should say inner HTML. You see here. So the content is presently you have not entered any emails. So what is there in here? You are getting the inner content. Got it? So email see you are getting that element, this element by ID, by this ID. So that will you store it in a variable. And on that, you are using JavaScript and how to get this content. The way to get is .inner.html. So I got it. So now what I should do is here. So now I got this. So similarly, let me try the input. This is let me try. So where email input is equal to document get element by tag name. Okay.
Input. Mm.
So only thing is here, if you get the element by tag name, you will get multiple objects, then it will become little complicated. Let me see. Input. So here I would say, so alert, you have entered email as. So here what you should do is, so this comes as an array. I want to get the 0th element, and in that, so that's the email input, the object. Let me see whether it works. saasre@gmail.com. See here it says that undefined function, not a function. This is line 24. Yeah. See, get elements by, see, elements by tag name. Yeah, you have entered emails. This is undefined. So that's because let me just sorry.
Inner HTML is spelling mistake.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
Inner HTML.
Yeah, inner HTML. So it says yeah, so this is empty now. Let us say yeah, let me see what is there in the console. Let me just print JSON object. Yeah, until one is familiar with these things, it will take some time. Let me just see even how the object is. Okay, so in such a case, what we can do is, let us debug it. So in the JavaScript, what I can do is, I can go to source, okay, and I can just put a breakpoint here like this, and let's say refresh. Here s@a.com. Click. So
you missed one bracket, I guess.
1 minute. Yeah, I think you.
Alert.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I missed one bracket. Okay. Say a@g.com. See, now it is paused in the debugger. So now see here, you can see you want what is the email. You can just check that email. Yeah, this is the email input, and so let's see what is there in the email input. See, now this is, it stopped there, so you can just step over. So now you stepped over. I think, is there error? Let me just pause it. Yeah. 1 minute. I'll remove it. Let me just see if there are any errors. Yeah, there are no errors now. So yes, ava@gmail.com. Pause in the debugger. Okay. So now see, now you see email input is undefined now. So when I do step over, so that becomes email input gets some value. So here, so this is how you have to see what is the, you have to see where that is there. So it is there in children's. So Yeah, this is a collection. Length 0 and yeah, I think we should look at the children only. This is attributes is fine. Yeah, node list, I think child nodes. So let's try child nodes. Okay, let me just try. One minute.
We can use by ID.
By ID. Yeah, we can use it, but that's not the right way because you cannot keep IDs for all of them, right? So we can do that, but I would like to use this node, this one. So it should length 0. I think by now it should have selected input by tag name. The element is correct. So is it children? I think it's not able to select that for some reason. Get elements by tag name. I think your tag name is correct. Input. So there's another API which I'll let me use, query selector. So this is also this is called query selector. So here you can use input type is equal to email. Let me try this whether it works. So just like in jQuery, we can do this here as well. Let me do that.
Okay.
Sorry. Child nodes. So I should use that child nodes property. So yeah, you get all the child nodes like this. Yeah. You should use child nodes. You see here, you should get the child nodes, and then on that you should use this. Yeah, I should use child nodes like this. Child nodes dot 0th1. Let me see that. So it's showing here this is some error. Oh, not query selector. Get elements by tag name. Here it's showing an uncaught syntax error. Where is the syntax error here? Oh, double quotes. Yeah, now it is happy. So save IA at gmail.com. Say paused in the debugger. Step over. 1 minute. Scope variables, breakpoint. Watch expressions I'll put. Yeah, so email input. So stepping over. So there is some error. Cannot read property 0 of undefined. Yeah, so then you should. So why it is property is not defined there? I mean, so means probably child nodes, and after that you should use it. Okay, fine. Let us do that. So let's use C, and then you should say C of 0. C of 0 dot inner.html. Let me see that. Yeah, yes.g.com. So I'll just put the C. Why C is not defined? So let me try in Firefox. I think Firefox could be better.
Yeah, if you want to do it some other time, you can do it.
Pardon?
If you want take a time.
Yeah. As I said no. So we need to see. I haven't used generally. I generally use jQuery itself. In JavaScript, I mean, we need to. That's why I needed some time. So basically, idea is, I mean, get this using the inner.html, get the content, okay, and then dynamically you create an like see element, that's why I said. So there's something called again you do document dot get element by ID and get this element email ID list.
Yes.
Okay. So then on that what you do is you set the inner.html property. So here you do again you want to add another email this. So you put a text like this. Okay. And then say here say colon, and then whatever the email ID you got it, right? So that you put it as a value here. So email ID like this.
Okay.
Got it. So email ID, and then again you have to give a say this is a label, and then you have to end it, right? So you want to break it. So you break it using like this. So you break to the new line. So this is a crude way, but you just break it like this. So now you are adding this. So inner.html, what you should do, you need to add prepend, right? So give plus. So when you give plus equal to whatever is the existing inner.html, to that it gets appended. Got it?
Yes.
So now basically this email. So this is when you do that, you are essentially taking this, and here you are adding this text dynamically, and then so Saya Sri at G, when this function gets called and this statement is executed, so this is what happens. So this is what happens.
Okay.
So when this happens, so you'll get of course here you need to do a break here as well, so that you can so break here. So yeah, so when you add this, it's as good as you adding this line here. So this BR. So So with this statement, what you are doing is essentially you are adding this line number 14 dynamically inside this. Okay, when you insert it, then you see like this. Got it?
Okay.
So so dynamically, as and when you keep adding, so you keep adding like this. So this is email 2, and then this like this, and gets added like this.
Okay.
You'll keep on adding. It's like, see, we already associated this clicking. Only thing, I need to get this code right here. So every time this function gets added, so you keep adding this line. Only this line you keep adding, and you will keep seeing this email 1, 2, 3. Of course, you need to do a counter here. This is email ID 1, 2. That you need to count it, put it in the counter, and when you are composing this here, so you put that string, that variable, and you create it null, and then you add it. That's it.
Yeah,
You got it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how you should do it.
Actually, I was creating every time new input box and new label.
Yeah, you don't have to create input box again. Only one input box is enough, because when you need to enter only one place the email ID, the rest of the time, so you need to get, see whatever you enter here, this text is available in JavaScript using this inner.html. You have to select that element and then get that inner element. I think inner or val. I don't remember the function. That's why I said I need some time. So in jQuery it is very straightforward. So you say select it and say val, it'll work. I think let me use jQuery.
Okay.
It's not late for you, no?
Yeah.
Is it late? I mean, if you want, I can demonstrate now. Otherwise, you can look at the solution later. Your choice.
Yeah, I can look at solution.
You can look at it later. Okay, fine. You got the idea. No?
It's 137.
Get the value and then add dynamically using this statement. That's all. Only thing is here from the input box. Here I'm not able to get it. You should know right variable names and then right way to access it. And once you access it, just append it. That's all. And keep adding it.
Okay.
And of course, you should not use the breaks, and then you should use proper styling in CSS so that it looks neat. Got it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's all is assignment.
Yeah.
So I want each one of you to really read through the W3 schools and then documentation and know this, like how to do these things.
Yes.
Okay. For this purpose, I generally use jQuery. That is easy.
Okay, but it's very typical.
Pardon?
It's very typical jQuery.
Yeah. So since like even as I said, no, I don't know full. I know only probably 20% or even less than that. So I need to get familiar with these things. These things as well. Okay, I think once I get some time, I'll just then I'll create the solutions and then you can check it there.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay then, Saif Ali. Bye bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Night.